watching Becky attempt to try and win that NXT Women's Championship. And I think if you're someone that's been watching WWE for a long time, if you're someone that's been watching NXT for a long time, I think that this is something that's going to resonate quite deeply. I've said before that, like, Becky to me struggled when she first went up to the main roster. It just didn't quite feel like she had the same sort of developmental experience that a Bayley or a Charlotte or a Sasha. It didn't feel like, it always felt like she was always that one step behind them. She always felt like the weakest link in the Four Horsemen to me, or the Four Horsewomen. And obviously, as soon as she became the man, you could make the argument that she actually leapfrogged them all. So her story, her journey has been so fascinating to watch. It's been so interesting to watch. But one of the things that I think really stood out in the early stages of her career was her not winning the NXT Women's title. I think that definitely was a factor in her struggling in the early stages. So tonight we're going to see her potentially right that wrong. Tonight I think there's a chance that she does get it. And if she does get it, I think that will be absolutely huge. I think it'll be absolutely huge. I think it'll be big for NXT. I think it'll be great for her. I think it's, you know, she can retire knowing that she did it at the developmental stage. She was good enough, or became good enough. She obviously then went and main evented WrestleMania and all that kind of stuff, won women's championships. She's had a great run as well. Her year last year was fantastic. She had one of the best years last year, where she was like competing at WrestleMania, defending that championship, involved in a feud with Bianca. She was doing lots of interesting stuff. She had a great year last year. And so now she's trying to find a way of continuing that away from the title, because obviously Rhea's got the title. There's no plans seemingly for Becky to get that title off Rhea. So we sort of have to find something else for her to do. She's just been doing a feud with Trish, which I think has been okay. Certainly I enjoyed the final match, the match that we got at Payback. But that's come to an end now. So now we've got to find something else for her to do. I think this comes along at a good time. I think it makes sense. And genuinely, I'm quite excited to see if she can get it done tonight. So I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't want to see her going after a developmental title. I don't want to see her going down to NXT. Not interested in her winning a belt that she should be, like, you know, clearly able to win. I can understand that, but I am still not agreeing with that. I'm still really excited about it personally. And as we said, you know, it's got that kind of, it makes tonight have that big fight feel as well. It feels big tonight. So yeah, I'm excited, and I hope all of you are looking forward to the show as well. We've got the poll up and running. We are asking people as to whether they think she can do it or not. So far, we've had nearly 100 votes already. And right now, 66% of people have gone with Becky. 34% of people have gone with Tiffany. So it seems like the majority of people are leaning towards Becky as well. Yeah, it could be a big night, man. Could be a really big night. Could be a big night. I'm looking forward to seeing if she can get the job done. Debosa says, I think Tiffany wins tonight to give her some more credibility. Becky can always get a return match down the line. Hasim said, Daze, who do you think will win the NXT title match tonight? I think if Tiffany wins, her reign will be like Mandy Rose. I am leaning towards Becky winning tonight. I think that Tiffany is fine as women's champion. I don't think she has been as good as we were hoping. I think that her matches are pretty solid. I think I just think with Tiffany, there's a lot of room to grow. A lot of room to grow. I don't feel that she is kind of ready to get called up. I think, like, this doesn't feel like if she does well against Becky, that's it. She's ready for the main roster. Like, I've still got serious doubts about her live promos. And also, like, you know, her kind of match quality, I think, can be improved as well. So I think Tiffany is definitely a one for the future, definitely a great prospect, definitely the right person to be getting behind. I certainly don't think she's like a ditz. I think she puts that on, actually. I don't even think that's her personality. I think all of it is just a character that she plays. I think you would probably be surprised as to what she's like in real life. I would imagine she's quite different to the Tiffany character. So, yeah, I am thinking that we go Becky tonight. I'm thinking we go Becky because I think Tiffany's still got a long way to go in NXT. I think that it could set up a rematch where Tiffany gets it off Becky at like a No Mercy or something like that. Don't forget, we've got TV negotiations going on at the moment. Any ratings right now for NXT are going to help those negotiations. You've got Becky, who hasn't got, what's she doing? She ain't doing anything. So, like, you might as well put the belt on her and give her a rundown in NXT. It means that Tiffany then is engaged in a feud. It means that NXT's got Becky around for a few weeks. There's nothing else for Becky to be doing. Certainly, Rhea has got hands full with Nia and Raquel, so we're not desperate for Becky to move over there. So I got to admit, I'm looking at it thinking that it's going to go Becky's way tonight, but I like the fact that we've got people thinking it's going to go the other way. Genuinely, I like that fact. Because it means that there's that doubt. I'm certainly not 100% confident in it. Certainly not going to sit here and say, yeah, it's guaranteed Becky's definitely winning. No, I'm not saying that at all. I think there is a very, very strong chance that it's Becky because I can see lots of reasons as to why it would be Becky. But I also think that Tiffany does stand a chance of retaining as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a juicy one. And it's definitely going to be grabbing people's attention. As we said, it's got that big show feel. Jeremy said, Tiffany is very green. She almost killed Thea Hale. Her last match was terrible. They need to get the belt off of her. This is the way to do it, says Jeremy. Kian said, Daze, hope you are well, having a good stream. The reaction to the dancing of the song on the pad was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. Kian, shout out to you, my friends. I'm knackered. Proper wore me out. Yeah, fun wrestling escape pods. Cut a little bit short. I didn't really plan much for it this week because I knew that we needed to start the stream early. And actually, I was under the impression that Triple T wasn't able to do this Tuesday. So going into it, I kind of thought that it was going to be just me on my own. And we were going to, do a little bit of a solo wrestling escape pods. But then Triple T was like, no, I can do it. And so, we ended up doing what we ended up doing. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And I'm pleased to hear others enjoyed it as well. Jim said, first Seth for NXT title. Now his wife, Roex next. Maybe. I would imagine Roex probably will get into wrestling, yeah? What with her mom and dad being in the industry and what with it being such a interesting form of entertainment, I think there probably is a chance that she gets into it. But not yet. Not yet, Jim. Not yet. Hold your horses. Brian said, how's that going for Dominic? He won the title. He's had next to nothing to do with NXT since. He was on NXT last week. What are you watching, Brian? He was on NXT last week. He was doing, he was a special guest ref for the match between Mustafa Ali and flipping Wes Lee. So, is it Wes Lee? Dragon Lee. Is it Dragon Lee? Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee versus Mustafa. There's too many Lees and Alis. And so Dragon Lee versus Mustafa Ali. Dominic was the referee for that one. And yeah, I mean, I feel like he's been down in NXT pretty much every week with like Rhea as well. Like, so yeah. I don't know. I mean, has he been wrestling every week? No, but he has had matches in NXT. What do you think what type of camera do you use for your video? I just use the webcam. Just a webcam. Lee said, if Becky wins, she brings in more viewers to NXT because she can take the title to Raw. Alex Bliss Gamer said, I think Ilja Dragunov versus Wes Lee should be great. Brian says, a ref. Yeah, a ref, but he's still on the show. We're talking about star power. We're talking about these main roster stars going down to NXT and being around. Because if you advertise them for the show, you don't know what they're going to do. Plus, also, if he's a ref, You don't know, is he going to screw someone over? Is this going to play into a storyline going forwards? Like, you don't need to be seeing them wrestle every single week, because then you could make the argument that you're overexposing them, you know, and then their matches don't feel quite as special. So special guest referee, promo work, all of that's acceptable. Them being there is what matters. Them being on the show is what drives interest and gets people to tune in. So Becky can win the title tonight, and then, yeah, she can promo, she can guest ref, she can be guest timekeeper, she can jump on commentary. Like, you see, the argument is that these main roster stars are getting in the way of the developmental talent. So one of the biggest criticisms that I see is people saying that, like, oh, I don't like seeing these stars come down and taking a spot away from the developmental talent. And I can understand that argument, right? I can understand that. But then if we bring them down and get them to do a guest ref spot or sit on commentary, then seemingly people aren't satisfied with that either, because then people want them to actually be competing in the ring. So you've got some people over here going, oh, I don't want to see main roster stars down in NXT because they are taking spots away from the developmental talent. So then when we don't do that and we put them as a guest ref or put them on commentary, then you've got other people that are coming out going, like, you know, oh, that's not very good, is it? So, like, do you know what I mean? You can't win. You can't win. So I think you've just got to do what you think is the right way forward. You just got to do what you think is the right thing to do. And for me personally, I think the right thing to do right now is to put that belt on Becky. And I think then she can go into a program with Tiffany. They can build towards a rematch at a premium live event, something like No Mercy, whatever. Tiffany can get it there, which would be a big stage for her to get that title back. It also means that we can use Raw to promote that rematch. A lot of Becky fans are obviously going to follow her to NXT, so it's a great boost for ratings. If you keep Becky down to, like, just some promo work and, you know, just backstage segments and commentary and whatever, then she's not getting in the way too much as well. She's kind of coming down to scout the division, kind of coming down to see what's happening with the women's division. Like, for me, that ticks all the boxes. I don't really have any problem with any of that. You're boosting ratings. You're giving something for Becky to do. She's never won the NXT title. She's not getting in the way too much. It means that we can then bring Raw into the equation, because, like we saw yesterday, we had a contract signing where we had Tiffany and we had Becky doing a contract signing backstage. I think there's so many positives to this. I think it's a really positive thing that we're doing. And I'm all right with them coming down. I tell you what will be interesting. It'll be interesting once the TV deals are sorted, because then they might stop bringing them down, because obviously then we don't need to do it as much. The ratings are important, but they're maybe not as important as what they are now. The ratings right now are, as we said, you know, quite important, because we're trying to really sell NXT as another brand. Loop Girl said, what do you think about TKO? Not really anything to think, is there, to be honest. I don't really have many thoughts on it. I think that it's not a big deal. It's a big deal that's not a big deal. It's a big deal because all of a sudden there's a different company in charge, WWE, so that's a big deal. But it's not a big deal because I don't expect anything to change. I think the shows that you watch are going to be exactly the same. I think the names of the shows, the branding of the shows, I think it's all going to be exactly the same. I could be proven to be wrong on that, but I think that what they're doing at the moment is working. I think they're getting some really good ratings. I think they're doing some really solid stuff. If anything, I think that WWE coming into that kind of UFC space, I think there's a lot for UFC to learn. I think the UFC can learn a lot of lessons from WWE. Maybe there's some stuff that WWE can learn from UFC, but sure. To be honest, I'm not sure. UFC is good, but I kind of feel like WWE is the market leader when it comes to agreements. The UFC have got a song, an official theme for their events. Sounds silly, but that is something that WWE have, and they get money for it. So it's just a way of getting extra revenue. An official theme song, brilliant. You know, we get X amount of money in the door for that. UFC don't do that. So this is what I'm saying. That's maybe a lesson that UFC could learn from WWE. And like other things like sponsorships and whatever, UFC don't have like screens when the wrestlers walk out. So when the fighters walk out. So, you know, they could put a screen up as the fighters walk out and they could do like some advertising on that screen. We did try the Beyblades thing behind Austin Theory, and thankfully we've not done that anymore. But I don't know if you've noticed, during certain matches, there's certain matches now that are sponsored by, say, Captain Crunch. And what they do is during the match, the barricades will have Captain Crunch advertisements on. The Titantron will have Captain Crunch advertisements on. And they go big with, like, you know, using all the screens at their disposal for certain matches. I think eventually they would like each match at a pay-per-view to be sponsored by a different company. I think that is where wrestling is going when it comes to sponsorship. And I'm all right with that, to be honest, because the alternatives are, you know, quite scary. You know, I'd much rather just see Captain Crunch on a flipping barricade screen and on a Titantron screen rather than zombies trying to eat the Miz mid-match because we're trying to promote a game or whatever we were trying to promote, right? Or Leatherface making his way down to the ring like he was doing with AEW, you know? To me, that's the stuff that's cringe. But just having like some adverts on a flipping screen in the background, I ain't got an issue with that. But this is the kind of stuff that, you know, UFC could be looking at. This is the kind of stuff that UFC, I think, could learn some lessons from. And maybe there's some stuff that goes the other way as well. I'll tell you one of the things that UFC do that I think is quite good, and I think WWE could think of doing it. You can actually pay money to UFC to have your name printed on the ring. So when they're fighting, they actually have part of the ring that's like this black strip. And on that black strip are all these people's names that have paid for their name to be in the ring. About $300 or something. But for that, you get your name in the ring during the event. And then afterwards, they cut it out, put it in a plaque, and send it to you. So you've got a piece of the ring that happened for that event. That's something WWE have done. But it's your name. And it was your name was in the ring. Like, that I don't think would be hard for WWE to have. And it could just be right underneath where the ropes are. So it doesn't actually get in the way of the actual ring itself. It could just be on the outskirts of the ring. And it could just be that. It's not big. I mean, honestly, like it's not like you can look and read them. But they are there. And as I said, around the edge of the ring. Like, just think about that. I mean, if each one is like $300... like, you could make thousands and thousands extra on each event just by printing people's names on the edge of the ring. I mean, these are the kind of things that I think TKO are going to be looking at. But the actual feel of the show, the actual who's being pushed and all that sort of stuff, I don't see any change coming into that. I don't see any change coming into that. WrestleLandy said, bring back Face the Pain. WrestleLandy, shout out to you. You go. Julie said, this is the first show booked by whoever is in charge of creative right now. I honestly don't think Triple H is in charge. I think it's Vince or someone from UFC. What about you? No. 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 I think that this is all the same, mate. I certainly don't think it's someone from UFC. So the way that the new system works is that you've got UFC on the one side of the company. You've got WWE on the other side of the company. The WWE side is headed up by Vince. And the people that are running the shows are the exact same people that were running the shows last week, the week before, the week before, the week before, the week before, blah, 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 right? There's been no announcements of any personnel change. So Kevin Dunn is still doing the camera work and all that kind of stuff. If you're tuning in tonight thinking this is going to be different to NXTs of the past, you're in for a rude awakening. I fully expect this to be exactly the same as every NXT we've had in recent weeks. Same with Raw, same with SmackDown, right? So this is Shawn Michaels that's overseeing this. Triple H is still doing the booking for Raw and SmackDown. There is no change, right? There is no change. Ari Emanuel even said when this was announced, he was like, listen, we've spoke about this. Vince, we want Vince on boards because Vince's vision has steered WWE over decades to the, the multi-billion business that it is now. He is the guy that saw the value of the network, and he went to that before anyone else went to that. He is the guy that saw what WrestleMania could be and the importance of getting to pay-per-view. Like, he is the guy that was always just slightly ahead of the industry. He is the guy that had that vision. Vince always wanted his own TV channel where he could just show WWE stuff, but he could never quite get that to work. And then in 2014, along comes the WWE Network, which has its own channel, constantly, showing stuff. But it's so much more than that. It's an on-demand service, which was one of the first to market. So Ari Emanuel said, we want Vince to be in charge of WWE, to be the head guy in WWE, and we want him on board because that vision and that awareness of his industry, of his space is, you can't put a value on it. So if Vince is the guy that's in charge of WWE ultimately right now, even now, then why would anything change? I would be a lot more on board saying stuff's going to change if it was someone brand new. If the guy in charge of WWE right now was called Peter Jenkinson, right? And we don't know anything about Peter Jenkinson, then I'd be like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Who the flip's Peter Jenkinson? What's he all about? What's he thinking? But the truth of the matter is, the person in charge of WWE right now, the top guy in WWE right now, as of today, right now, is Vince McMahon, which is exactly the same as it was yesterday and the day before and the day before. All them people that are in key positions are there because of Vince. He ain't changing that. The only thing is that Vince now may start getting a bit more involved with creative, because if he's not kept busy, if there's nothing to kind of keep him occupied, then all of a sudden he's going to need to be occupied with something else, and that could be creative. So if you want to talk about what might change, I think one of the things that might change is that we might see Vince getting more involved in creative now. Because now the sale's gone through, once the TV deals are sorted, what is there to keep him occupied? What else does he need to focus on? Don't forget, go back a few years, Vince was not only overseeing creative, but he was running the whole business. He was overseeing everything. He's no stranger to, spinning lots of different plates at the same time. So the idea that he can't be on a board of directors and also in creative, we know he can. He did it for decades. So he absolutely can. So yeah, I think that, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm not expecting anything massively different, but Vince is unpredictable. And I think that we could see him, if he does not have his plate kept full, sneaking his way back into creative. Nathan said, do you think Ilja Dragunov would win, or do you think Wes Lee would win? I'm hoping that it'll be Ilja Dragunov. I'm really hoping it's going to be Ilja Dragunov. I love Dragunov. Wes Lee is fine, but Wes Lee's fine. I think he's fun. He's sort of, he gives me like Ricochet vibes, to be honest. He's fun. He can have good matches, but I see a ceiling for him. I'm struggling to see him as an NXT champion, right? I think that Dragunov I easily see as an NXT champion. Like, his match quality is phenomenal. His promos are so intense. I really rate Dragunov. Wes Lee, I think, is this generation's Ricochet. I think he's someone that's great in ring, mid-card champion. You could see Wes Lee going into a tag team. You could see him going after mid-card belts. But I think if ever he was to get a world title, it would be a big deal. It would be a big deal. It would be unexpected, Xavier Woods never got close to a title. And Ricochet's never got close to a world title. I think Wes Lee's going to fall in that same bracket. But I think Ilja Dragunov might do it. Ilja Dragunov might be able to go to the main roster and he might be able to become a world champion. I really hope so. I really hope so. I really, really, really rate Dragonov. A lot of people want Dragonov to be the one to beat Gunther, but I think that's too soon. I think it's going to be Chad that beats Gunther. And it feels like we're continuing to plant those seeds yesterday on Raw. Jarrett said, this has been in creative, and now that he has signed that contract today, you watch, he might not be today or next week, but his face will be on Raw and SmackDown. It's going to happen. Who are we talking? Vince. The greatest moment in wrestling history is yet to happen. Vince eventually dies. Then after a couple of weeks, Shane and Steph are in ring on Raw, and then Christian Cage's music hits. Okay. Tommy said, for your information, don't go blind. Good advice. Really, if you watch the Wrestling Escape pod, then you'll know. Big Time said, Raw died last night. 1.3. Oh, was it 1.3? Oh, do you know what? That did not show in our watch along. That's really interesting. I've said before, normally we do about 10,000 people that join us. I think last night we ended on 11 for Raw. So I remember it ending and going, that was okay. It was all right. About 11,000 people joining us for Raw is, yeah, it's okay. Anything above 10, it's okay. If it's below 10, then it's like, oh God, that, have I done something wrong? Like, I don't know, yeah. But we got to 11, so to hear that, Raw was 1.3, that's not a good rating. That's not a good rating. And I tell you what, that's the kind of thing Vince will look at, and Vince will be straight onto. Vince, if there's concern about ratings, Vince will be straight onto that. So that is bad for many different reasons. It's bad because it's a bad rating, but it's also bad because Vince is going to jump on it. Vince will, that is what Vince is waiting for. Whilst the ratings are good, it's hard for him to he doesn't have to justify getting involved, but it's harder for him to get involved because everyone knows what they're doing, and Triple H has got a little bit more grounds to just be like, listen, we know what we're doing. Look at the numbers, right? But you can't say look at the numbers if they're 1.3. Can't say look at the numbers. So that is low. Football did 22 million. Oh my God. What, like one game or all the games together? That must be all the games. I can't imagine one game doing 22 million. Although saying that, the Super Bowl does 100 and some million, doesn't it? So maybe one game did do 22. The football game did 22. Perhaps it was just one game. Did 22 million. I mean, oh man, I'm doing the wrong thing here. Look at me. I'm doing watch-alongs for someone that's getting 1.3 million when there's other people doing watch-alongs for football that's getting 22 million. We're in the wrong sport, man. We're in the wrong spot. Wrestling's dead, guys. Wrestling's dead. Right, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support. Turn the lights off. Turn the lights off. Let's shut this off. That doesn't even work. Nothing works around here. Oh. That is low. According to WrestleNomics, Rhea Raquel main event did 997. Do you know what? That's a shame. And that is a shame. Because there's always an argument out there that women's wrestling just doesn't draw ratings. And we know that they never did another Evolution pay-per-view because of the fact that the first one didn't do very well. But I don't think they promoted it very well. And I don't know, I've never ever, I promise, I have never looked at women's wrestling as in any way inferior to the men's wrestling. Never. I've never ever looked at it that way. Other than when it was the flipping divas doing bra and panty matches, right? But that wasn't wrestling, right? That was just a flipping sham. So, but like, if ever they were doing a proper wrestling match and they were proper trying and they were proper wrestling, I've never ever looked at it like, oh, well, don't want to watch this. you know? I think that there is some of that attitude out there. I think there are people that feel that way. But I don't think that's why that did so low in the ratings. I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that's why Rhea and Raquel, was as low as what it was. I think that it was just a bad week. It's the football. I think they always take a hit around this time. For it to be this low, though, definitely says that there is no story that is compelling enough to keep people around. And you've got to say, having watched that Raw as well, having watched it, not good enough. Not good enough. I did a review of it. I said it was a 6.25, and I'm only in the sixes because of Nia. If it wasn't for Nia, I'd be down in the fives. I think I felt a little bit more into it last night. I think because of the Nia thing, it was like, yeah, I'm probably around a 6.75 or something. But having slept in it and looking at it in the cold light of day, I think, the Nia thing was good. I didn't expect it coming. It was a nice moment. But really outside of that, there ain't much on it. I mean, I did the whole ups and downs. I ain't going to go through it now. You can watch the video. But I went through the whole what culture ups and downs. The ups are pretty weak. The ups are weak. We're not talking about big ups that are like, yeah, that was an up. Yeah, that was good. That was satisfying. That was great. The ups are pretty weak. And I think the downs are fair, to be honest. So, yeah, I just think that if you're going to start with Jey Uso and Kevin Owens, and they're going to be interrupted with Judgment Day, and it's going to lead to a can they coexist match, and that's your opening match, and that's your open of Raw, I really think you are going to have people going, should we watch the football? We'll watch the football. I really think you will get that, You need that Roman bloodline story. Oh my God, what's happening next week? Do you know what the Jey story doesn't have? It doesn't have that, oh my God, what's happening next week? What's going to happen with Jey next week? Jey's facing Drew next week. What's going to happen? No one is thinking that. No one is thinking that. They do not have that cliffhanger. Oh my God, I can't wait for next week's Raw. It really feels like next week you could just... I feel like next week, Nia, I'm interested because I want to see what Nia's got to say. But other than Nia, just focusing on, say, the Jey Uso situation, or let's say the JD McDonough situation, none of that is like, oh my God, where's this going? I can't wait. Where's it going? Where's this going? You don't have that. But you did have it with the Bloodline. And I just think they've kind of lost that momentarily. Hopefully, they can get it back again and get it so that you really want to see what's going to happen. Like when Finn and Damian were looking at each other dirt and you're like, man, one's going to turn on the other. And then nothing happened. And now they're best mates. And now they're tag partners. Do you know what I mean? Come on. It's the same with Drew as well. So, you can tell Drew's going to turn heel. But it's taking so long. And it's all you're only upset because you won a title in front of no one. Oh man, we've all got places to be. We've all got things to do. Yeah, I agree. There is nothing about Raw at the moment that really makes you feel like you've got to watch next week or, oh my God, how's that going to develop? How's that going to go? I sort of feel like even Chad and Gunther, I think people will want to see it because I think that's when Gunther's going to lose the title. But you've seen Chad lose clean. So it's very hard to get excited about seeing him going for the title again. All right? What we've not done is we've not built up a big baby face. Could you imagine Sami Zayn? Imagine Sami, right? Built up. Crowd going crazy. People going bananas over Sami. Sami chants everywhere. And then he steps up to Gunther. And he wants that IC title. And he wants to be the one to end it. Could you imagine, compare that kind of an atmosphere and that kind of a situation to what we've done with Chad and Gunther. We've seen it. He failed. It's hard to kind of go back to it and convince people, no, watch it. Watch it. I know he lost last time, but watch it this time. Because he might win this. He might win this. No, you do want to watch it. He might win. Do you remember when his kid was crying? She might not cry this time. Because he might win. But it's not going to get people to, like, tune in from the football instead, is it? Yeah, they got some problems, man. They got some problems. They got some stuff that they need to work on. I think it's fixable. And I do think that this week was a bad week, but there's no way of spinning it. That's an L for WWE. There's no way, no positive you can look at. You can say it's the start of football, but they've been going up against football for years and years and years. 1.3 for Raw is a disaster. Is 1.2 the lowest ever? Is 1.2 the lowest ever? I've got a feeling like 1.2 might be the lowest Raw ever. So just to put it in perspective of what a 1.3 is, you know? Nia Jax to interrupt the main event tonight, and Samoan dropped them both. Judgment Day is a wannabe bloodline emos, said Jarrett. Brian said, to me, Drew is the kind of character where he should have stayed heel. I agree. I think Drew as a heel is just so much better. I think him coming out with a sword called Angela and all that kind of stuff, like him cutting the ropes and all this, like, it's just not been good stuff. I think that Drew is better as a moody Scotsman, because we all know that everyone from Scotland's moody. I've never seen a bubbly Scottish person unless they're drunk. So I kind of feel like Drew as an angry Scotsman makes a lot of sense. And I definitely would get him back to being a heel and being a force. Make him a force as well. Because, again, he's just had meddling booking, isn't he? Can't even get the IC title off Gunther, which is fine because, you know, no one's managed to get the IC title off Gunther. But it doesn't make Drew look great. Let's put it that way. Drew doesn't come out of that looking brilliant, struggling to win an IC title when he's a former world champion, you know? I can't imagine Hulk Hogan struggling to win the Intercontinental Championship. So I don't know. Someone else we dropped the ball with a bit. Jim said, one does not need a reason to watch Raw. Just watch the show and support one's favorite Raw stars. The Beach Kevin said, this was one of the biggest football players starting with a new team in NYC on 9/11 on the first game of the year, and he gets hurt in the game. That was huge news. Greggy said, Daze, hope you are well. After thinking about it, I'll wait and see with an approach to Nia. The sword thing was cringe. Brian said the lowest rating was a 1.47, so I think that would be the lowest last night if that is the real rating. Chad should have a long feud with Gunther, says Jarrett. AB said Aaron Rodgers tore his left Achilles tendon. He is out for the season. That means nothing to me, mate. Jim said it is true. Scots are moody. That's been confirmed, guys. There's lots of stuff that we have different opinions on, but we have all come together on that one. Toys R Us is in WH Smith's in the UK because WH Smith's has bought Toys R Us. Is it? I've not heard this news. If there was a match against CM Punk LA Knight, who should go over? If there was a match between CM Punk and LA Knight, who should go over? Good question. That is a good question. That is a good question. I have got so many different thoughts in my head. I'll tell you what my first thought was, CM Punk. Right, CM Punk was my first thought because if CM Punk comes back, you're paying him a lot of money. A lot of money. And you are having him as a main event star, right? You ain't bringing CM Punk back just to potter around. You are bringing him back to be a face of the company. Because if you're bringing in CM Punk, it's massive and you are pushing him to the moon, right? He is going to be your champion. He could be the one that beats Roman. He's going to be the guy. And so why would you bring him in and have him lose? to LA Knight. Why would you bring him in and have him lose to pretty much anyone? Change LA Knight for pretty much anyone, right? I think that like you would have to invest in CM Punk because of the amount of money that he would cost you. He would be like crazy money. He'd be like Brock levels money. And so I think that you would go I think you would go CM Punk. The reason why I was just second guessing myself though is because CM Punk has hurt his brand. I mean, there's plenty of people that really like CM Punk that are struggling to support him because drama follows him around. And so I don't actually know how many CM Punk fans are going to be really behind him. And so CM Punk in that feud could be the heel. Could be the heel. And LA Knight could be the face. So depending on when you're booking it and how you're booking it and whatever, like you could make an argument for LA Knight. If he's the face and these two have been feuding and you do it at WrestleMania, you're probably not putting the heel over. You're probably going to put the face over, which would mean LA Knight. So I think the honest answer to that question, the honest answer is it really depends on the situation, the circumstance, the story, the creative, who's face, who's heel, what you're trying to get them to build towards. You know, is CM Punk a stepping stone for LA Knight? Is LA Knight a stepping stone for CM Punk? Blah, 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 right? It's a bit like saying, if we do Drew versus Gunther, who wins? Well, it's like, what's happening? Is it for the IC title? Are we trying to break a record? Or like, you know, what's going on? Because it was quite obvious that Gunther would get past Drew because we knew he was going to go on to break that records. So, you know, in that circumstance, you would say, well, yeah, it should be Gunther. But you could easily come up with another circumstance where you go, okay, well, Gunther's no longer champion. He's, you know, been holding the title for a while, world champion for a while. We're going back to the UK. Drew is going to try and be the one to beat Gunther and hopefully win that title in front of his home fans and actually win a world title in front of fans. And so, and he's the babyface and blah, 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 blah. And in that circumstance, you would go, oh, yeah, it's Drew. Drew should win it then. So it's, do you know what I mean? Like, it's those kind of questions are really, really difficult because you can easily just put a slant on it, which would make you go, no, it should be the other person, you know. But with no context and just absolutely nothing else involved, I would say CM Punk because he's going to cost you a lot of money and he ain't going to be around for long. So if it's just a case of his two names, who goes over, CM Punk, because he's going to cost you a lot and you get your money out of him, basically. Josh said, who do you think is the right choice to win the Women's Championship match for the NXT brands? I'm going to go Becky Lynch. Jarrett said, once Chad has reached the top of the mountain, 3 or 4 months later, he could take the title off Gunther when they feud is at its climax. The way Gunther can have all his energy and focus on the Rumble. Jim said, Pete Dunne should win the IC title in a progress ring. Travis said, it's funny that Excalibur didn't get fired for choking a wrestler out. TBH said, is Cody still expected to move to SmackDown? I'm thinking so. I'm amazed we haven't done it. Jim said, Dana is best pals with CM Punk. He knows how to deal with him. What football team do you support? I support Man U and Stourbridge. Kids will be fearing for their lives because their hearts are broken with tears. What's that for? The only Raw episode to ever do a lower viewership was a best of show, said Dark Angel. Oh, my. That's really interesting. So a best of is the only one to ever go lower. Wrestling Observer said Vince was back last night and he made multiple changes, says the Count. Get used to it. Joe said Nia will get a lot of boos just like Dom. Vince made changes last night. Take the football out of it. How did Raw do compared to everything else on Monday nights? I have not seen the numbers. Did these numbers only just come through? I have not seen these numbers. Raw ratings. 135. That is bad. When did they come through? Came through 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. WWE Raw took its usual hit as Monday Night Football began, dropping its lowest rating and audience points of the year. Monday's episode brought in a 0.4 in the 18 to 49 demo. 1.3 million tuned in. These numbers were 23% and 20.6% down from last week. Last week we were 1.7. This week we're 135. It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. It is amazing. It is. It's low. Really, really low. More on Raw rating. It's been going on forever. There's just been a lot of sameness on Raw recently. I think that's been reflected in the rating, especially at the time where WWE is so hot. I'm not saying they should give away Cody versus Roman, but do some unique stuff. Oh, that's good, actually, from Raj, yeah. I'm not saying give away Cody versus Roman, but do some unique stuff. Do something that's going to wake people up. I mean, what I will say is they did main event last night's Raw with a women's title match that definitely feels like it could be on a pay-per-view. But I think the problem is the fact that a lot of people went into it just thinking Raquel doesn't stand a chance. And we did polls, and I think it was like 75% of people said Rhea would win. And only a quarter of people thought that Raquel would win. And so I think a lot of people just went, nah, she won't do it. And kind of were happy to accept that. And lo and behold, she didn't do it. And lo and behold, it was for a good reason, an interesting reason. But yeah, it was a case that they were right. So they stayed away because they thought they knew how it was going to go down, and they were right. You know, could you make the argument that WWE should have pulled the trigger, put the belt on Raquel last night to make Raw feel like it is can't miss, to make Raw feel like, oh my God, you can't afford to miss this show because you never know what's going to happen. You know, you could make that argument that they should have gone in that direction. Do you think Izzy will retire now or try and win back his title? Strickland clearly dominated, but Izzy has proven before he can beat an opponent he's lost to. I don't think Izzy needs to retire, to be honest. I think that it's a disappointing loss. It's one that I think is going to hurt. It's one that I really don't think he expected, because I don't think many people expected it to happen. I didn't expect it to happen. So, yeah, I don't think he'll walk away. I think it's a challenge that he can beat. I think he can beat Strickland quite comfortably, to be honest. I just think that he just never got going. He never got going. Strickland never really allowed him to get going. Strickland fought a very good game plan. But I had it 2-2 going into that final round. And I really thought that it was coming down to that last round. I think that Strickland's the deserved winner. But I did not see a massive chasm between them. I didn't see like someone that was so far ahead or just someone that was so superior. I just saw someone that stuck to a really good game plan and managed to just get over the line. So I don't know. I think Adesanya loves MMA. I think that he loves money. And I think that there's definitely another big payday out there for him to try and get his title back, which I think he can do. So, no, I don't expect him to walk away unless he's like, nah, I've had enough now. I've played this game enough. I don't want to play it anymore. But I haven't really sensed that from him, you know. Plus, I think they're holding out for the Africa show. I think, you know, could you imagine if they get that Africa show over the line for next year? Like, Izzy is going to want to be on that card. I would imagine Usman's going to want to be on that card. And obviously, Ngannou has gone now, but they've been talking a lot about UFC Africa. So I think he sticks around. Richard said, I've got a huge feeling that Tiffany Stratton wins tonight. Richard, shout out to you. I think you could be right, bud. It's a big, big NXT tonight. It really is an exciting show. We've been talking about Raw ratings. We've been talking about who should win between Becky and Tiffany. We've been talking about... What else have we been talking about? We've been talking about a little bit about CM Punk, a little bit about LA Knight. But yeah, we are 6 minutes away. And I would imagine Becky and Tiffany will be the main event tonight. So we're going to have to sit through the other stuff first. But that's all right. It looks a pretty strong show, actually. Got a couple of Heritage Invitational matches. So Tyler Bate against Axiom. Nathan Frazier against someone else. Maybe Akira Tozawa. I don't know. So we got a couple of those matches. We've got that Women's Championship match. We've also got Wes Lee versus Ilja Dragunov, with the winner going on to face Carmelo Hayes. So there's a lot of stuff on the show tonight. It's a pretty stacked episode. At the bare minimum, they should have put the women's tag belts on Kaden and Katana. Vince Russo says the outrageous faces by the superstars are unnecessary in a pinning situation. Jim said, surely the Izzy fight we want to see is against John Jones. They're different weight classes. Greggy said, I miss Bray's storytelling. I know some fans didn't like it, but it always got good ratings. Cal, hello, shout out to you. Said Dragonov versus Wes is going to start NXT. Wes is going to win that one. Matt said, thanks, Daze. That Africa show would be epic. Suzanne said, I thought Raquel should have won. I wouldn't have minded if Nia had attacked her after, as long as Raquel won, but WWE screwed her. CJ said, do you think Mandy could return tonight after teasing her wrestling return? No, don't think so. Only because I don't think anything's changed, has it? Has she stopped doing the stuff she was doing? Because I think WWE have got advertisers and sponsors. I think they see themselves as like a family product. Youngsters go to the shows and everything. Having someone doing like OnlyFans type content, they made it clear they wanted her to stop doing that, and she wouldn't stop doing it. So, she chose that over being a wrestler. If she's now going to stop doing that so that she can return to wrestling, WWE would have to make a decision if too much damage has been done. Those pictures, they're out there now. That's it. They're out there. So WWE going to think like, we told her to stop, she didn't stop, it's her choice. I mean, WWE don't need Mandy Rose. It's Mandy Rose that needs WWE. And I don't even think she does, because she was making a lot of money from those OnlyFans pictures. So I would imagine there's a chance that the amount of people that are subscribed to her has probably gone down as we've just got further and further away from her being on TV. It's one of those where when she was, just out of the business, like she was the talk of the town, I would imagine she was raking it in. But now I would imagine it's kind of settled down. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, yeah, I probably need to go back now. I got to tell you, if I was WWE, I'd be like, nah, mate, you made your choice. You made your choice. We invested so much time in you. We kept that title on her for so long when there were other women that could have had that title. There was other women that we could have put that belt on. There's other women that we could have had in that position. All them main event matches, all of that promo time, all of that investment, she was willing to throw it away just so that she could continue to do those OnlyFans pictures. I really think that is a big middle finger up to WWE. I really do. If I was working at WWE, I would have took it that way. I've given you the title. I've left that title on you. I've built up your brand. I've given you loads of promo time. I've given you loads of main event matches. I've put you in loads of women's title matches on pay-per-views and everything. I've given you all of that when I could have given it to someone else. Someone else that really wants this and doesn't have something else that they want to do instead. I could have invested in them, and instead I've done it to you. And you're repaying me by choosing to do those pictures and choosing to do that rather than being a wrestler. That's how you're repaying me. Nah, you're done. Thanks. You're done. I ain't investing in you anymore. You've told me where your priorities are. You know, you've told me where your priorities are, and it ain't me, and it ain't this company, and it ain't the investment that you've had in you. So I think it was a real poor choice from her. I really do. I think it was a really, really poor choice. I think it was short-sighted. I think she was looking at how much money she was making, and it was a lot. And I think that she went, I'm going to keep doing that because that seems to be where the money is. And I think she followed the money. And there'll be some out there that are like, why couldn't she do both? Well, no, you can't. They made it clear you can't, because they're a family product that have got sponsors and advertisers that they have to answer to. And if one of their wrestlers is putting out, I mean, I think there was like footage of her topless in a pool where you could like see her boobs completely exposed and all this kind of stuff. Like she had crossed over into like full-blown nudity, actual nudity. Like it wasn't just like little sexy bikini shots or anything, you know, that you see on Instagram. This was going that little bit further. And so like WWE made it clear that's not what we want for our superstars. And I think that's fine. And a lot of people will be like, yeah, well, WWE used to have them in Playboy and everything. Yeah, that was back in the Attitude Era. That was going back 20 odd years. Do you know what I mean? That was like a different time. We wasn't doing PG content back then. That was a different time. It might as well be a different company. So a lot of people like cry double standards and all of that. It's not double standard. It was allowed back then because the company was doing a very different product back then. Now the company is a lot more family friendly, and she was told you got to do that. You got to drop the pictures. The only thing I will say is I hope she was given the chance to decide. That's the only thing I'll say is I hope they said to her, you've got a decision to make. Either do that, stop that and do wrestling, or stop wrestling and do that. I hope they sat down and I hope they had that chat. Because if it was just a case of they called her in and went, nah, you're done. And she didn't know. She didn't have a choice to make. She didn't make a choice. She didn't realize, you know, you shouldn't have done that. You're gone. If that's what happened, then I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for her. But yeah, I gotta say, I ain't flying no flag for Mandy Rose. Right, we're getting underway. I agree. They rebuilt her character well, and she threw it in their face, said CJ. It's just money, but fair enough. Paige Van Zandt recently said she makes more every 24 hours on that site than in her MMA career. Sign me up, said S. Bassett. I would subscribe to your OnlyFans, S. Bassett, if that helps. I'd be right there, buds. Right, we are live with NXT. Let's get going. Let's go. NXT. Right. James, shout out to you. Even AEW wouldn't accept her doing that, says James. James, hope you well. Right. Do you think TNA and the latest incarnation of the NWA will survive in the long term? Do you think they'll eventually on their way out? Long term. Well, NWA has been around since the God knows what 40s in some form. It's hard to see it going away in it. It's got brand recognition. So I don't know what their expenses are. I don't know what are they losing money? Are they just getting by? I genuinely don't know, but it's hard to see them going away if they've been around for as long as what they've been around, you know? If they had any trouble, I think that WWE would come in. I think WWE should have come in, actually. I think they've been available a few times. You can surely do something with that as a brand. Surely. Okay, here we go. We are underway with Wes Lee. So, no, I think NWA will be all right. In some form, I think it will be around in the long term. Impact, I genuinely don't know. Impact doesn't have that history, does it? I mean, I understand that there's people that enjoy the product. I've not heard that they're in any trouble. But it's hard to say if they're going to be around long term. I would say they feel all right at the moment. I'm not aware of there being any issue at the moment. Okay, Wes Lee versus Ilja Dragunov. Probably should have done this as a poll, shouldn't we? So Ilja Dragunov versus Wes Lee to establish the #1 contender. Here is Ilja. Ilja Dragunov. Match 1. Okay, is there any wrestlers meant to be returning soon? Well, a lot of talk about Authors of Pain and lots of talk about Kairi Sane. I don't think there's anyone beyond that. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Big E. We don't know what's happening with Randy Orton. Those are another couple of names. Liv Morgan, as well, has been out injured. She should be coming back. We don't know what's happening with Uncle Howdy. I mean, there's a few names. I've got a feeling we're going to end up with Ilja, Wes, and Mello in a triple threat, said CJ. James said, Impact has been around for 22 years. Kind of. I mean, it was TNA, wasn't it? TNA morphed into Impact. I don't think it's not the same ownership, though. And it got rebranded into Impact. So, I don't know. I mean, you can certainly have its lineage back to TNA. So, it is true. You can trace it back to that. But I think you could also make the argument that Impact is a separate entity. Kairi Sane is going to have a personal score with Bayley when she returns, says Tony. Spurs Gamer said, do you think we can see an interaction between Lyra and Becky tonight? And do you think that Becky can take Lyra under her wing when she comes to the main roster? Will we see an interaction between Becky and Lyra? I think it would be good if we did. They're very, very similar. Obviously, Lyra has got a bit of a gimmick of kind of like Irish mythology type stuff. And Becky never had that, but she did have like a steampunk gimmick. She actually did have an Irish dancer type gimmick at the very start. So actually, if you was to compare Lyra Valkyria with Becky when she first arrived, you would see some crossover. I would like to see a segment between them. Yeah, I don't know that we see it tonight, but I feel quite good that Becky could get the title tonight. Stick around. And if she sticks around, we're almost certain to see an interaction. Almost certain. Big clothesline there by Ilja. Wes' title run was perfect, and it's a great example of how to build a star, said Jim. Tony said, Lyra is a women's world champion material. Sticks said, what happened to Carlito's return? That's a good pound. There was talk that he was meant to be on his way back, wasn't there? There was talk that he was on his way back. I've not seen any talk on it for a while. Right. Dragonov is delivering some German suplexes. Again, picking up Wes. Wes lands on his feet, goes back against the ropes. Wes looking to charge over. Clips Ilja in the head. Ilja goes to the outsides. Wes goes against the ropes. In between the ropes, collides into Dragonov. Dragonov goes over against the barricade. This match could bang, man. This match is likely to bang. Wes again collides into Ilja. Ilja goes into the barricades. Spinning around on the outside of the ring. Winner of this is going to get a shot at the NXT champion. There's an enziguri kick that comes in by Ilja to Wes. Wes goes down. Dragonov grabbing Wes. Is he going to German him onto the table? No. No. No! Oh, that's sick, man. He German suplexed him onto the commentary table. The commentary table actually split but it didn't collapse. But it did split. Oh, that was sick. That was sick. He was standing there. He had him in position. I was like, nah, surely not. How's he going to do it whereby, like, he doesn't hit his own head on the table? How's he going to go back? But he actually, like, arches back. He arches back like that and doesn't actually land on the table himself. He manages to get enough height where he can... Oh, it's so good. It's so good. He must... I need to see a replay. He must have got him quite low so that when he goes back, Wes hits it before he hits his own head on it. That's the kind of thing where you really need to know what you're doing in that situation. There's a lot of wrestlers that I think would end up knocking themselves out in that spot because you've really got to have your wits about you. You've got to have bang-on spatial awareness to know. Because the table's right there. You've got to go back and you've got to make sure that you don't smack your own head. That was sick. That was sick. That's one of the best things I've seen in so long. You know, when you watch so much wrestling to see stuff that you just don't normally see. Amazing. Really, really enjoyed it. NXT is looking good so far, said Dinesh. Sick. It was sick. Dragonov is an expert in brutality. Do you know what? It's one of those that I really want to see again. There's so much about it that I just think is just amazing. Amazing. To be able to grab someone and go back and German them and to not hit your own head off the table. He had no room to... You wouldn't even think you'd be able to get back. I want to see, where did he grab him? How low did he get? I want to see it again. Really want to see. I've got a lot of questions. He is so good. Nicole, shout out to you. Dragonov is going to be gangbusters when he finally moves up to the main roster, said TBH. William said, what if I run for Prime Minister of Canada? Then I make your book mandatory in all the classrooms and hawk it around the world. And I will also cancel hockey because it sucks. Lol. Lol. Don't you dare cancel hockey. I know Wes got beef with the NXT announce table. First the Riptide at Great American Bash, then Mellow Springboard, now this German, said Gerald. Really good. Really good. Right, we should be going back. We was at commercial break. We should be going back now. Right. My name is Michael Caine, and I'm a nosy neighbor. Right, Chop's coming in there by Dragonov. I don't know if we're going to see a replay. I think we do. Okay, we've got Wes Lee in the corner. Dragon Lee trying to throw in a chop, but no joy. There's a shot to the midsection. Wes Lee into the middle of the ring. Ilja picking up Wes, and shots coming in by Wes. Oh, my God. Dropped him on his head, Wes did. Why are these commentators not being more animated with some of the stuff we're seeing? Look at this. Oh! Oh! This is awesome. Champ breaking out from the crowds. I really want someone on commentary right now like, this action is incredible. This is what NXT is all about. Ilja Dragunov, Wes Lee, exchanging forearms right now. Like, I want some, inject that. Come on. This is a great open. Forearm strikes being exchanged by both guys. Big blows coming in by Wes. Shot to the midsection. Uppercut. Dragonov going back against the ropes. Big boot by Dragonov. Wes, kick to the midsection. Spins him round. Oh, super kick by Wes. Dragonov. Ooh, another kick. Oh, and a stomp. Dragonov goes down. Wes Lee having to throw everything at Ilja. Everything at Ilja. That kick. Oh, my God. Look at the replay of that kick. His face just flipping caved in. That kick is brutal. Wes charging over. Chop coming in. We need to protect Ilja. I feel like he's going to have a career of about 5 years or something because of how brutal his matches are. We just need to wrap him in cotton wool and just make sure that he's on every WrestleMania. Chop coming in. I would be concerned about that if I was working in WWE. His style is so hard hitting. Like, it's hard to envisage he's going to be able to do this for a long time. 1, 2, where's... Ah, shoulder up by Ilja. Oh, my God. This match is banging, man. This is banging. This is banging. Love that Spanish fly. There's quite often Spanish flies where I do look at them and I'm just like, how does that benefit anyone? But that Spanish fly, you could see Wes land on top of Ilja. Right, we've got back elbow there by Wes. Ilja wobbly on his feet. Wes grabbing Ilja. Knee to the midsection. Big knee. Going for the cover. No. Grabbing Wes. Could this be the beginning of the end? Forearm. Elbows coming in. This is a flipping treat. This is a flipping treat. Couple of backflips. Ilja grabs him. He's got Wes Lee on his shoulder. Dragonov. Ooh, oh, into a DDT by Wes. I get the feeling Dragonov didn't quite know what to do with him. Kind of had him on his shoulder and he was like, don't know what I'm doing. Ended up getting reversed into a DDT. Get back up. Gritted teeth. Dragonov on the outsides. Wes has gone back to the corner. He's going to go over the top. He goes over the top. Oh, down on Dragonov. It's always an impressive spot when he launches himself over that corner post, ring post. Holy ship chance. Wes Lee climbing up. Wes Lee climbing up. Shot coming in there by Dragonov. Dragonov, Wes Lee in the corner, looking for a big superplex. Looking for a superplex. He's going for it. He's going for it. He's going for it. He gets it. Big superplex by Ilja. Ilja back in the corner. Ah, is this where you go? Ah, I love that move. 1, 2. Ah, kick out. I love that move. You've got a person that's down, and I've said you should call it the exclamation point. It really is like that. Finish him. Bang. But he kicks out of it, which I think is disappointing. That could have finished this match, and it would have been beautiful. Knee strike there by Wes. Oh, he did it again, but this time to the back of the head. Turning him over. 1, 2, 3. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Brilliant. It's brilliant. What a match. What a battle. What a war. There is not, I will not hear anyone tell me there's a better wrestler in the world right now than Ilja Dragunov. Ilja Dragunov might just be the best professional wrestler in the world. Every match delivers. Every match. Every match. Love that shot, man. You've got that person down. And then I was like, oh, I probably should have ended it there. And it carried on, but not long. And it finishes with a shot to the back of the head. Even more brutal. Even more brutal. Dragonov, man. Dragonov is my spirit animal. He is everything I will never be. He's athletic, he's cool, he's intense. Dragonov. I am a Dragonov stan. I'm a Dragonov stan. This is Wrestling Dragonov. I'm changing the name of the channel. So good. Too good. Goated, mate. Goated. Well done. Oh, wow. James, I'm physically and mentally exhausted. Had a break from everything. I got a lot going on. James, shout out to you, dudes. I'm physically, mentally exhausted after that. So good. Looks like is the chat not working? Got a message that says chat disconnected. Ah. Hopefully that'll refresh. Thankfully, it's still showing on screen. Holton said, Daze, was Neville's cruiserweight title run the best or worst? Who dethrones Neville for the belt? Could that person dethrone? Could that person dethrone Gunther? Is Gunther the same as Neville? Is Gunther the same as Neville? Neville's cruiserweight title run. Who did beat? I can't remember who beat him. Was it Enzo? Yeah, like it might have been Enzo. I was just pulling my hair out of that cruiserweight title. It got so close to what I wanted it to be, but yet so far away as well. I think everyone under a certain 205, everyone under 205 should have been eligible for it. Not just the people that were on 205 Live. It should have been everyone that was under 205. We should have been seeing Neville versus Rey Mysterio, Neville versus Finn Balor, like Neville versus Sami Zayn. Like, I don't know how much these people weigh, but you get my point. It just was a certain select group of people on 205 Live that competed for that cruiserweight belt. So comparing that to the Intercontinental Championship is, you just can't do it. So, yeah, I think we got close, but no cigar with the cruiserweight title. Okay. Von is being closely monitored. Baron Corbin making his way to the ring. So recovery time has yet to be determined. You know, there was footage on social media of Von moving out the way when those ring steps hit him. I've been very clear on this. I think the person that recorded that should be banned from all WWE events. The NXT last week ended with a black screen. And on last week's stream, I was like, oh, I don't know how that's going to be received. The reaction to it, I was stunned, to be honest, but the reaction to it, because I looked at it and went, oh, that's a bit cheap. You know, they want to have Bron hit Von with the ring steps, but they don't want you to see how fake it looks, or they want you to think it's more brutal than it actually is. So what they've done is they've turned the screen to black, right? They've made the screen go black. So last week I was like, oh, I don't know how people are gonna receive that. I was stunned at how many people genuinely thought that Von Wagner was injured. I'm I was stunned. Like, people actually thought he hit Von Wagner with the ring steps. I think they did a good job of releasing pictures of the ring steps that had a bit of blood on. And I think there was an image of Bron on a stretcher, and there was blood coming through the bandages. And then there were reports that it hadn't quite gone to plan. And, you know, all of that was brilliant to muddy the water, to like make it seem like, oh my God, you know, something's gone down here. Right? And then one of the fans shows footage that they recorded on their phone of the ring steps missing Von's head by a mile, right? Von had his head on the step. The other one comes down like that, and it's like nowhere near. And just completely ruins the whole thing. There was loads of wrestlers that jumped in going, well done. Well, kayfabe is dead. This is why we can't have nice things. Blah, 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 you know. There was loads of criticism of it, of the fact that that footage got shared on social media and that it just ruined the illusion. I actually think, in retrospect, it was worth them doing what they did with the black screen. I think the little touches of the blood on the step and the blood coming through the bandages, I think it was excellent. Like, to, again, just put those little seeds of doubt in there. The report, I don't know how this started, but the report that it had gone wrong, I don't know if that's something they planted or if it's just bad information. But either way, that definitely added to it as well. Because there was, I think the reason a lot of people were believing in it was because that report came out that it had gone wrong. And so people were like, really? And then all of a sudden they're looking at it in a different light. But this is what makes that footage so horrific, is the fact that this footage comes out showing that it missed by a mile. And so all of that hard work is undone. All of that hard work is pointless. And so I think whoever recorded it, I don't care if you're a member of this community or not, right? I reckon you should be banned for life. Banned for life from WWE events. Probably impossible to enforce, but send a statement, send a message. That person is banned, not welcome. Because they've ruined it. They just ruined it. Just ruined it. So yeah, I thought that really sucked. I thought it really sucked. You know, they've just had to say there, thankfully Von moved his head out the way so the impact was lessened. Because they know that footage was doing the rounds. Here's Baron Corbin making his way down. I see what Corbin's got to say. Corbin looks a bit distracted. I would imagine he's going to burst into laughter. I think he's going to like show concern for Von and then laugh about it. Tonight is different. 7 days ago, I sat right there. I watched something so vicious. I watched Bron Breakker crush Von Wagner's skull. I don't like Von Wagner, and I won't act like I do. Everything about Von's story is real. Bron took advantage of that. But I can assure you, Von will never be the same again. got to laugh. He's a heel. He's got to laugh, or he's got to congratulate Bron. He's got to do something. Here is Bron, best spear in the business. Baron shaking his head. What you did last week. What's he saying? You got tabled. I don't know how to put into words what you did last week. Everyone else waiting for this turn. What you did. Brilliant. Was freaking awesome. There it is. What you did was freaking awesome. What you did last week was freaking awesome. Idiot. He calls Baron an idiot. Do you really think I did what I did last week to gain your approval? Bron looks quite small, doesn't he? Why does Bron look so small? Perry would have laid it in, said Brent. So he is closing his eyes. He's picturing what happened last week. The turmoil, the fear. I'm still thinking about that first match. So good. He loved it. He loved it. Junior. Look, Junior. The fact you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, that'll get you far in this business. I was going to offer to pay your fine, but I can see you, Baron. Where's this going? Where's this going? Where's this going? Congrats. Thank you. Thank you, says Bron. Thank you. Bron is my kind of heel, said Zoom Station. Brent said, Bron is so 80s. You've ended his career before it ever got started. I've been toe-to-toe with Undertaker at MSG. I don't care about your accomplishments. Baron said you should want my respect, and Bron said I don't need it. I don't want it. This promo kind of went all over the place. How did we go from him saying what you did last week was awesome and it feeling like they're about to be a tag team to now it becoming that they're having a match? This is not the strongest verbal exchange. This is not. He slaps Bron. Baron slaps Bron. So a match has been made for No Mercy. They're now slapping each other. Now we've got security guards in the ring. This is heel versus heel as well. Who am I meant to root for? I think they're both douches. We're backstage with Briggs, Jensen, and Miles. Here's Fallon Henley. Briggs, Jensen, Miles Bourne. And we go to commercial break. Muttix said Corbin is 6'8" and Bron is 6 foot. It's noticeable. There's a big size difference between them. I know that Bron's not the biggest of guys in this world. I mean, 6 foot is okay, but in the wrestling world, it's, you know, there's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". Corbin 6'8". I mean, Corbin at 6'8", that is big, isn't it? That is big. That is something that I don't associate with Corbin, like him being especially tall. But 6'8" is significant. But yeah, you could really see that difference between them. It'll be a fun match. I just don't get it. I don't get who I'm meant to root for. I thought the promo exchange was all over the place. That story just did not feel like it developed and evolved, and it felt like it was a bit jumpy. A little bit like listening to a records. Like, you know, you're listening to the music, everything's cool, and then maybe it jumps a little bit, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but it's a bit different than where we just... And then it jumps again, you're like, hang on, is this still the same song? Is this still the same song? Kind of felt like that promo. He's gone from going, that was awesome, dudes. That was all, oh man, what you did, it was so cool. So then they're having a match, no mercy. So yeah, it was what it was. First match was sick though, weren't it? Do you remember the first match? Sick. Right. Daze, token that big fat TKO timber. That out to you, buds. Very lifted like Spider-Man. I saw Vince today on Twitter. He is looking for pictures of Spider-Man. R.I.P. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Kiss my butt cheeks club. Thank you. Prince said Corbin is definitely a giant. People don't pay attention to that. J-Love said, is he really 6'8"? Because WWE likes to lie on their stars' heights to make them smaller. Jim said, I'm 6'7". Are you? You're 6'7". I think anything like... I feel like 6 foot is probably about average. It's probably more 5'11" that's about average. So I think then you're obviously a good size. But yeah, 6'8". That is big. That is big. Sort of reminds me of my dad, said Mr. Quake. Right, let's get I need to real trouble with the chat. Yeah, it's not working for some reason. My chat on YouTube's not working, so I'm just gonna have to use the one on screen, which unfortunately means if I miss it, I miss it. I just tuned in. I was watching the Ilja match, and that ruled. What did you think? Loved it. Loved it. Easy 4.5 stars, maybe 4.75. It's one of those where I think 5 stars is, I mean, 5 stars is something that you would only give a match like once a year, twice a year. Like, it's a really special rating. I think if something's a 5-star match, it's really, you're talking about an all-time match. That's how I see 5 stars. A 5-star match is a match that you are basically saying to people, yeah, you've got to check this out. This is one of the greatest matches you will ever see. I don't know that I can lavish that much praise on it. What I can say is it's an easy 4.5 stars. Easy. And 4.75, but I don't know that I could get to 5. Don't know that I could get to 5. If someone was to like, if Meltzer scored it as a 5, I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't say that was crazy. If any of you guys go, no, it was 5, I wouldn't say it was crazy. But I don't think I could get to 5. But what an amazing conversation to have for the opening match. Briggs, Jensen, and Miles Bourne versus Dempsey, Gulak, and the other one, Kemp. Boom. Becky is 100% going over, especially since it's main eventing, just like Dom versus Wes, where Dom went over. If the match was a bit longer, it would be 5, said Jim. You could be right. You could be right. It could just be that it needed just that little bit more. I must admit, though, when he went to hit him and then the match carried on after that, I did say that's where it should have ended. And then thankfully it did end quite quickly after. But the only reason why I said, oh, that's where it should have ended is because I really loved that move. That final shot. I don't know what it's called. I love that move. It's so simple, but it's just, you know, when you're so like worked up, you don't do beautiful ranas and all that stuff. Like, it's just, you know, the person's down, they're hurting. It is like a finish him. It is just a, take that. Just die. I really love the move. And for me, that move should be protected. If he hits that, it's done. So seeing someone kick out of it, that makes me go, oh, I don't like that. So that's why I was like, that's where it should have finished. But then thankfully it finished not long after with a shot to the back of the head. Oh, hello, Fallon in the arms of Miles. Oh, hello. What's this? Flirty, flirty. What? Did Miles turn on Jensen? Kemp. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Miles gets in the ring. Double turn. Miles betrayed him. Her soul just crumbled. So Miles betrayed Briggs and Jensen, helping Dempsey and Gulak and Kemp to get the win. Okay, so Duke Hudson is reaching out to Thea. Don't know what's got into her. Now we're seeing Thea. Those guys over there are eyeing us. Thea's a bit nervous. There's a couple of guys are coming over. I don't know these guys, do I? Have I seen these before? Did you have to wear your Chase shoes shirt? They're a bit mean, aren't they? Douches. Don't like them. Don't talk to her like that. JC slaps one of the guys. Thea with a forearm strike. Now she's put a Kimura on the guy. Oh, low blow. Low blow by Thea Hale. They deserve it. Ah, Thea says, I don't want to look like this anymore. Next week, we're going to go shopping. Gonna sexy it up, are we? And are disrespectful. Feel like we're going full-blown Pretty Woman. Mitchell said, is it fair to say a 5-star TV match? I have 2 match scoring scales, TV scoring and pay-per-view scoring. A 5-star TV match isn't a 5-star pay-per-view match. I don't know, dude. I wouldn't get. That's not my scoring. My scoring is just one system. Otherwise, I think you start getting like really confusing. I understand that there's obviously limitations with the TV match, like commercial breaks, and doesn't tend to get as much time to it, and compared to a pay-per-view match. But I don't have that system. I just rate each one on the same scale. So for me, I loved it. I don't think I could get to 5, but I'm 4.5, 4.75. But everyone will have their own slight little variation on what they thought. Feel free to put in the chat what you thought about it. NXT stars are young. I just feel like I'm watching a frat house, said J-Love. Gerald said, what TV match was 5-star? Angle, Lesnar in the Iron Man. Yeah, that was sick. That was sick. That's one of the best TV matches ever. Brilliant. That one, definitely. I think that is actually regarded as like the best ever Iron Man match. So that would definitely be in the reckoning. There's a lot of love for 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bret Hart from back in the day. That's one that a lot of people would probably mention in the kind of 5-star bracket. I'm trying to think of one more in recent years, like the past few years. There's one that we could say, yeah, that was a 5-star match. I know that Gunther had some good ones on TV. He had a very good one with, thinking about it, wasn't him and Dragonov a TV match? I'm pretty sure Gunther against Dragonov in NXT UK was, the rematch might have been a pay-per-view. But I think their match in NXT UK was just on a weekly TV show. So you could definitely point towards that in recent years as well. I don't think there's been anything this year. Been anything this year? I don't think there's been anything this year. I wonder if that is the best WWE TV match of the year. I wonder if that's the best WWE TV match of the year. That's a bold statement, man. Let's just go matches of the year 2023 WWE. Because I know there's a few articles of like, these are the best matches of the year so far. Here we go. The Sportster has got an article going up to Kevin Owens from June. Don't really remember it, to be honest. It was on Raw back in June of this year. They're saying that's the 9th best match of the year. Night of Champions, that doesn't count. Elimination Chamber, that doesn't count. Backlash, that doesn't count. Backlash, that doesn't count. Ugh. Elimination Chamber, that doesn't count. Lyra Valkyria in the ring. WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 39, and WrestleMania 39. So they mentioned Gunther and Kevin Owens. I don't remember it. I think there's an argument that might have been the best TV match of the year. I think it's definitely in the conversation. Definitely. Right, here we go then. Dana Brooke versus Lyra Valkyria. Dana versus Lyra Valkyria. Go. Okay, so we are up and running with match number 3. Lyra, step up in Zaguri, and to the outside goes Dana Brooke. Kalani Jordan comes round. Oh, heavy drop kick there. Kalani Jordan was trying to come round, trying to help. All of this just came from Lyra having a word with Kalani last week, and Dana didn't like it. Dana's been kind of going more towards being a heel. But Dana, look at her face, man. She's like, ah. She just pulled Lyra off that top rope. Lyra came crashing down. Is professional jealousy starting to get to Dana? Asks commentary. 1, 2. Kick out by Lyra. Wrestle Danny said Jeff Hardy, Undertaker ladder match was great. Yep, great shout. Natalia versus Rhea was good, said Zoom Station. Had over 500 votes. Dana Brooke getting up to her feet. Dana goes over. She's keeping a hold of Lyra's head. Getting back up to her feet. We've had 50 minutes of NXT so far. Back in the corner goes Dana. Dana gets thrown. Dana back up. Charging over. Oh, my God. Huge. Huge shot there. Oh, my God. These, like, axe. Bang. Axe chops. Coming in there by Lyra Valkyria. Looking really good. Really good. Lyra against the ropes. Charging over. Kick to the midsection. Bang. Another kick. Lyra's been such a good addition to the NXT women's division. Lyra, all kinds of fired up. Going over, grabbing Dana. Dana. Working on the arm. Elbow to the back there of Lyra. Lyra goes over in the corner. Dana charging over. Oh, Lyra gets out the way. Spin kick. Down goes Dana. Lyra going to the outside. Climbing up. Lyra comes crashing down. 1, 2, 3. Lyra wins. Lyra gets the victory. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how Dana reacts to this. So, big splash. And Lyra has managed to pick up the win. Lani Jordan is in the ring. Look, Lyra's coming over. She offers a hand. Smile on the face of Lyra. Dana shakes her hands. Oh, look, she tries to get at her, but Kalani stops her. Kalani. Lyra just having a little look at Dana as she's getting out the ring. Women's breakouts tournament. Let's go. Women's breakout tournament. Coming soon. Yeah, boy. Let's go. Women's breakout tournament. Mitchell said, I can't forget Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell on 2007 Raw. That was 5 out of 5. Is Eddie and Dijak. Dijak's gone to the forest to try and find Eddie. You need to engage your wild sides. Dijak's whipping a tree. Bit random. Pick this up another time. So Dijak was in the woods. Looking for Eddie Thorpe. Watching him whip a tree is a bit strange. Okay, here's Tyler Bates. Tyler Bate taking on Axiom in our next fight then, as we're going from hour 1 into hour 2. He is a little bit behind at the moment, Tyler Bates. Can he pick up the victory tonight? Oh, there's a viewing area. That's interesting. They've got a global heritage viewing area where people can actually go and sit down and watch the matches as they're happening on like a screen. So you've got all the people in the tournament sat in this room watching the action unfold. That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. I don't mind that at all. Right. Mitchell said, it's safe to say that T-Bar isn't a tree hugger. I would say that's safe to say. It was a bit random, that, wasn't it? But I don't mind random sometimes. I can cope with random sometimes. Yeah, do you know what? Really fun show so far. I mean, it makes such a difference when the start of the show is just red hot. Because really, if you've got stuff that's just so-so afterwards, you're still just running off the fumes of that first match. And that first match was so incredible, so brilliant. That, like, even the Baron, Corbin, Bron Breaker promo that was wobbly at best, even that's like, who cares? It's like, whatever. And then, like, you know, Dana Lyra, I thought had some really good stuff. Miles turning, I thought was interesting. Didn't see that coming, actually. Probably should have, but I didn't. Tyler Bate Axiom, it'll be all right. This will be all right. I think hour 1 has delivered, and it's going to set us up well for hour 2. Gerald said, T-Bar said, screw them trees. Screw them trees. Jim said, someone should tell Dijak that whipping a tree is not how one marks their territory. He needed to pee on it. Needed to cock his leg and start peeing on it. Tyler Bates said, can you give me as close to Dire Straits music as you can, said Alex. But I didn't think the first match was that special. Maybe I'm blind, says Brony. I don't know. Don't know, but I thought it was great. I definitely 4.5. I can go 4.75, but can't get to 5. Halftime scores, we'll do that in a bit. Slapping Woods, be like this could be us, but you playing. AJ Styles versus Undertaker in the Boneyard was awesome, said 1 Minute Wrestler. I'm thinking of making an art book, said Sonny. Oh, you're all over these books, aren't you, mate? All over these books. When did you first get Sky? I remember getting it the week before Mania 14, the first time I could watch Raw every week. To be honest, we've had it and not had it. We've never really consistently. Plus, also, I've obviously lived all around the country and I've had it in various places and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I've never had it consistently for, like, years and years and years, and that's it. We've just got it. It's always been that we've had it maybe for a few months and then not had it, and like, yeah, it's been one of those where it's kind of come and gone. So I mean, we've moved house a couple of times as well, and so that's obviously delayed things also. And as I said, like, you know, going around the country and everything, it's yeah, it's one that's I've struggled with, to be honest. I've struggled with getting Sky. We could never afford it when I was young. We are just seeing a Connor's cure. Oh, that's good. You could meet Cody or you could meet Bianca as a thank you for raising money for Connor's cure. WWE proudly supports Connor's Cure. Merch available at venues or WWE shop. 100% of net proceeds go to Connor's Cure. Okay, we've got Dominic Mysterio backstage, smile on his face, bumps into Carmelo Hayes. Dominic's congratulating him for solving his challenger conundrum. Being original is something you don't know anything about. You can't beat Dragonov, says Dominic. After No Mercy, we'll see who's still champ. You said this was the A championship. You were the A champ, but now I am. Oh, next week we can put it to the test. Are we going to do Dominic against Carmelo? Oh, Becky's there. Becky is backstage. Becky is backstage. Okay, so let's see what Bex has got to say. I don't think anyone thought that I was championship material. But there ain't no one that can doubt me now. The man. Ready to right those wrongs. To become the new NXT Women's Champion. Here is Kiana James. She's quite tall, isn't she, Kiana James? You're lucky it's not me and you tonight, says Kiana. The man is coming around to NXT a whole lot more. Kiana makes her feelings known that she does not want Becky to be champion. So Becky, it talks about righting wrongs. I gotta say, of all the matches, Kiana versus Becky isn't one that I was clamoring for. Definitely, but looking at the size difference, I'm all right with seeing it. Definitely want the Lyra match more, though. Lyra versus Becky. Definitely want that more. September 30th, No Mercy in a few weeks' time. Daze, have you ever preferred Money in the Bank as its own pay-per-view or on a big stage like WrestleMania? Oh, look at that. Brilliant. They've themed Metaphor's room for the week and they've gone safari theme. And you've got Noam Dar in some sort of costume where it looks like he's riding an animal and he's got like a telescope. Oh, that is fun. That is fun. So, it's an elephant. It looks like he's riding an elephant. Cara Jackson's all in leopard print. They've all got like safari gear on. That's fun. That's fun. They should theme it every week. That would be so good. I think they sort of did, didn't they? Didn't they have it like a bit toga-y? Am I remembering that wrong? I'm loving the safari theme. Do I prefer it as part of WrestleMania or its own? I'd say its own. I think it's strong enough to be its own. I think the prize is good. I like it at WrestleMania. I think it works at WrestleMania. but I do think that it's strong enough to warrant its own pay-per-view. I think the prize of being able to cash in at, like, you know, whenever, it really makes it seem like these people are basically future champions. I know, like, not everyone's cash in is successful, but more often than not, the odds are that they do go on to be the world champ. And I know that we've botched it with, like, Austin Theory and whatever, but yeah, no, I think the prize is a big prize. And I think that it is strong enough to warrant its own pay-per-view. Even more so now that we do a men's and a women's. But yeah, I always liked it when it was part of WrestleMania. Big moonsault to the outside by Axiom, who seems to bang his head on the commentary table. What are your thoughts of Nia Jax returning? Loved it. Big fan. I think that I'm very optimistic about it because I think that Nia is credible, big. I think that she is someone that... I think you could look at Nia and expect her to be booked like a Brock Lesnar, like a monster, someone that comes down and just messes people up. And it would seem like one of the easiest things to book. Like, you'd have to go out of your way to not have Nia feel like a monster. You'd really have to go out of your way to achieve that. And WWE managed to do exactly that. They managed to make Nia come across as just annoying and, like, easily beatable. Like, she was in the tag division and, like, you know, I know she got her hands on the tag titles, but she never felt like she was anywhere close to main event in a WrestleMania. Nowhere. Could you imagine Nia Jax main event in a WrestleMania? It never felt even remotely close. But why? Look at the size of her compared to, like, the other women. Look at the size of her. Imagine if she was called, like, the Awesome Jax, right? And she came down to, like, Brock music and had different ring gear and whatever. Like, I really feel like there's something that you could do there. Do you remember Karma? Karma was cool. Karma, people I think really were into, like, Karma, who was the Awesome Kong. I think that there was something like that you could have done with Nia, but instead we went a different direction. And we had that, I'm not like most girls, princess. Look, even what's terrifying about that? The hell's that? Whenever I hear that music, I picture, like, 8-year-old girls with flipping hairbrushes, like, bopping along to it in a mirror. I'm not like most girls. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to be thinking about that. I want to be thinking about when Brock comes out. Bum, bum, ba bum, bum, bum. Bum, ba bum, 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 bum. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to be thinking. I'm not like my girls. Da, 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 da. Eat for me. I'm not. It's the music is horrific. It's horrific. It has always been horrific. They need to sack it off. They need to sack it off, and they need to burn the master tape. I don't know why it was okayed in the first place, and I have no idea why it stuck around as long as it did. I have not got a clue. I can only hope and pray under Triple H she gets new music, new Titantron. I would change the ring gear. I'm a little concerned that what she wore is what she's going to keep wearing, because I would change that as well. Don't know what I would change it to, but I would definitely change it. And I would make her feel credible, dangerous, and really try to really put a new coat of paint on her. Because if we're going to do what she did before, I totally understand why people would be down on it. I totally understand why people would be like, oh, God, I don't need this. But she was presented as underwhelming, and so she felt underwhelming. And then because, like, she wasn't cool. And because she wasn't cool, if ever, like, there were any mistakes in her matches, that's where people would be, like, really on her back and really, like, you know, down on her as a wrestler. And once, like, the internet gets on your case, like, just you're fighting a losing battle, aren't you, you know? It became acceptable and dare I say even cool to hate on her. Like, it became the accepted thing. So yeah, I'm pleased she's back. I'm looking forward to seeing what we do with her. I'm optimistic, but yeah, it could be a disaster as well. I still concede it could be a disaster. It could go absolutely Pete Tong. But in Triple H, we trust. I trust that he's going to do the right thing. I want Nia Jax. I'm not like most girls t-shirt. Imagine Brock had the same things with I'm not like most boys. Good point. Good point. I'm not like most boys. And Brock comes out. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Imagine that. I'm not like most boys. That perfectly active the point that we're making. If you want someone to be cool and credible, you have to really look at the overall presentation. And the overall presentation has been trash for the longest time. Right. We did miss that halftime score. We were chatting about Nia Jax. We'll do a halftime score at the next commercial break. No, right, we got Axiom and Tyler Bate battling away. Against the ropes goes Tyler. Spanish fly. That was an example of a bad Spanish fly. That's a bad Spanish fly. That's a Spanish fly that you look at, or I look at and go, who got hurt in that Spanish fly? They both land sort of side by side. And who got hurt in that exchange? What did that move actually achieve? Whereas in the Dragonov match, I believe Wes Lee landed on top of Dragonov. So on that one, you could see that there was a purpose to it. There's a choke that's been applied here. Tyler Bate in all sorts of trouble. Tyler Bate in trouble. He's trying to get back up to his feet. Tyler Bate getting up to his feet right now. Bate spinning Axiom rounds. Got him up. Axiom, reverse Rana. I really think that should be the finisher. Reverse Rana. It's such a good looking move. It should finish off things. But to be honest, people hit reverse Ranas and the crowd don't even pop. Got flipping MJF and Adam Cole trying to get over a double clothesline. And then we got people out here doing reverse Ranas that get no reaction. Wrestling is pretty messed up. Big brain buster as Tyler Bate goes up top. Top rope Inzaguri there by Axiom. Axiom climbing up. Grabbing Tyler Bate. People watching on in the crowds. Spanish fly again. Little better. He landed on top of him that time. And we came off the top. But it still couldn't get the win. But into an armbar. Axiom has managed to get an armbar on Tyler. Tyler picking up Axiom. Axiom. Ooh. Into a Frankensteiner. Bate looking for the Tyler driver. Axiom against the ropes. Bate. Big clothesline. Axiom gets turned inside out. Tyler driver should do it. Bang. There it is. 1, 2, 3. Tyler Bate wins. Yeah, there was some stuff in there that I liked. Some stuff in there which, for me, I don't know. But perfectly acceptable, fun little match. And I love the kid in the background posing away. 1 win for Tyler Bates. 1 win, 1 draw for Butch. 1 draw, 1 loss for Axiom. We're backstage with Butch. Everyone knows me and Tyler go way back. 2017 match of the year. That was amazing. Tyler's first match at 15, I was his opponent. No one brings the bruiser out in me more than you, Tyler. Okay, so promo from Butch. Nice hearing him speak, actually. Coming up later tonight, Tiffany Stratton against Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. Breed Brothers coming up next. They're taking on, I think, Anofi and Blades. Breed Brothers making their way down with Ivy Nile. Breed Brothers versus Ivy Nile does have a smile on her face. Right. The kid is saying his prayers and taking his vitamins. Quick question. Do you think WWE could do a G1 Tiles tournament? They're doing one in NXT at the moment. I mean, I think they could do it on the main roster, but we know that Vince has never liked tournaments. He's never been a tournament guy. He's never been a fan of tournaments. So, I mean, that's why we always struggle to get even King of the Ring as a yearly thing. We've seen a lot more tournaments under Triple H, actually. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we could get a G1 thing. It's just if Triple H wants to do it. James said, fun Lyra fact. She was once a Pro Wrestling Eve tag champ with Debbie Keatle and a former OTT women's champion. That is fun. That is fun. Do you know what? Pro Wrestling Eve is such a fun, weird, like, space. It's like it's a promotion for women's wrestling. And I believe guys are allowed to go, but I don't know. It seems a bit intimidating. I'm still not 100% certain if guys are allowed to go. I think they are. I can't imagine they don't allow guys to go. But I know it's kind of like a for women promotion, about women, for women. So I'm kind of intrigued by Pro Wrestling Eve because they have some great female talent, but I don't know. I think I'd be allowed to go, but genuinely, I think the guys have to go to the back of the room. So because like women tend to be smaller, so you know they're trying to make this like a friendly space for women. So they don't want guys like at the front and like women not being able to see. So there's something like that in my head about Pro Wrestling Eve. About like, I think guys can go, but they have to stand at the back of the room or something, like naughty school children. Are you a guy? Get to the back. I mean, joke's on them because the bar's at the back. Joke's on them. Quicker to get to the toilets, quicker to go at the end, quicker to get a drink. Who's laughing now, women? Who's laughing now? Do you think we will see Simone Johnson join Nia Jax, being that Dwayne got them both jobs? They could be called nepotism. I don't think that, no. I think that Simone's going to need a lot longer in NXT. I think she's had one singles match. So, you know, she's going to need a good few more years in NXT. Honestly, if it's 2025 and she is still in NXT, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. If we're sat here in 2025 and we're still watching Ava in NXT, I wouldn't be shocked. And I don't know how long Nia's going to be around for, to be honest. So, can I say that I'm expecting that to happen? I'm going to lean towards no, but they may team up for one match or something in the future. They could do something together, but I mean, I think we're talking a long way. I guess Spanish Fly is not so bad when used in a defensive or reversal type situation, as you already are about to take a hit, but doing it for an offense doesn't make any sense, said Undercover Manager. Do you think Takeshita and Kenny feud will continue? Sure. Here's Ava and Gacy. Our tree is dying. Four roots might have turned to two. Why? Have the dyad gone? Where did they go? Where did the poor tree? I know that their contract was coming up, but I hadn't heard anything about that was it. They were done. So Ava and Joe Gacy saying four roots have become two, and Gacy says that their tree is dying. Are we burying Schism? I like Nia's new theme, like a rock version of her old theme. Oh, I've not heard her new theme. I don't see Simone being a worker. I see her being a manager. She can't really work, but her name already holds weight. She's unlikely to get anywhere near. Okay, here's Wes Lee. Backgrounds. Ooh. Wes looks like he's leaving. Ooh. It's all happening. It is really interesting. Trick and Carmelo. Show each other love, respect. Trick Mello gang in these walls. We're always going to be boys. And in the background, you got Wes Lee packing up. Man, I feel like in the space of a few minutes, we've been told, right, the dyad have left. Wes Lee might be on his way out the door as well. I feel like we just got a lot of information there in the space of like 5 minutes. Where's Wes Lee gone to? Maybe someone's going to dye their roots, brackets, hair. Dan the Beast Severan's not like most boys. That's true. The sad truth is that Wes Lee will just be another Ricochet on the main roster, said Brony. Jim said Wes Lee is going to Impact to rejoin the Rascals, question mark. Right. Breeds against Anofi and Blades. Have we got... There was just a camera shot of under the ring, and the ring apron seemed to ripple a little. Watching on is Angel and they confronted Tony and Stax. There was that big tag team thing backstage last week, wasn't there? Yeah, there's Tony and Stax watching on. A lot of interest in this match. This storyline is all over the place. Who is the modern day Coco Beware? Who is the modern day Coco Beware? I don't think we have one. Need someone coming down with the parrot. Wes Lee is going to the main roster, said Janari. The family watching on, said Kieran. Breaking news, yep. Next week, champion versus champion. Carmelo Hayes versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Nice. So it's been confirmed we're going to get champion versus champion. Right now, Brutus getting back up to his feet. Trying to get back up. Oh, Enofe gets hurled across the ring. Charged into as Brutus is trying to make that tag to Julius. I tell you what, I really like Miles Bourne tonight. I was looking at Miles Bourne. He looks really good. I like Miles Bourne. I like Julius Creed as well. This guy just looks special. Hip up again. Another one as well. Belly to bellies. Everyone's getting belly to bellies. No, if he gets planted. Oh, I thought he was going to catch him midair. He couldn't quite catch Blade midair. Instead, he went down, rolled over, and then stood back up with him. He's put Blade up. Brutus ball. 1, 2, 3, and the Creeds get the win. So they should. Creeds pick up the victory. So they're looking at Umberto and Angel Garza, who are watching on. Okay, now we've got Tank and Hank. Now we've got, what are these guys called? Price and Nima with Scripps. Big brawl breaking out. Okay, we're backstage with Becky. There's Big Time. Oh, there's Lyra. Congrats. Please win that women's championship. That's nice. I like that. Nice little show of respect between them. I want the match, though. Definitely want the match. Could you imagine Lyra winning the title from Becky? That would be sick. That would be sick. That would be really good. Lyra winning the belt off Becky would be really good. And Lyra definitely strikes me as NXT Women's Champion material. The next NXT pay-per-view will be in my old homestead of Bakersfield. Wish I could see it, but instead I'll be watching you, making it a good one. Suzanne, shout out to you. Appreciate the kind words. Right, let's get to halftime scores that aren't really halftime scores. They're more like three-quarter scores, but let's not pick it, you know. Let's not dwell on it.
Halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
Okay, get your scores in. Coach Co says, Merry Christmas. We've been working on the railroads all the livelong day. We've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Coach Co, shout out to you. I hope the railroad is going well. Draco said 7.5. Wisp said 7. Jordan said 6.99. AB Jobson said 7. Godfather's Ho said Daze still very blazed. B. Brian Blair style. Do you think now TKO with WWE and the main dude said there will be budget cuts, aka WWE's old marketing team? Will those get canned? Go to AEW. I think some will be picked up by AEW, yes. I think anyone that's got like good lengthy service with WWE would be of benefit to AEW for them to just strengthen a few different parts of their business. So yeah, I can see AEW picking up a few. Terry with a 7, Matt with a 7.5. Virus with a 7, Rev Gaming 6.5, Liam with a 7.75, Kieran with a 7.5, Starcade with a 6, Zoom Station with a 7.5, Chad with a 7, Scott with an 8, Shaquem with a 7, Mitchell said 7 to 7.75, Stephen with an 8, Irish Rebel with a 7, Justin with a 7, John says 8.12, it's been pretty entertaining. Alex says 2. Oblong Box said so far an 8. Justin with a 7. Jackie with a 7.5. Tinglin said, can you remember the stream that you sang that song? Clue, mate. Not a clue. A Raw one because it says Raw in the background. Jim said 7.5. 1 Minute Wrestler says 7. Starcade said 6. Stephen with an 8. What are your thoughts on the bar? Yeah, I like the bar. I didn't think they were the most engaging of groups. I think Cesaro has always struggled with his kind of charisma, if you will. I think that Sheamus has got a little bit about him. I just think they felt like a really good, credible team. But I don't know that they were really ever more than that. They were a credible team that you could watch and enjoy, and they had some good matches. But they weren't really a team that if it was time for their match, you would get really excited about. Or at least I didn't get excited about. Even though they're, you know, I love Cesaro, I love Sheamus, they're my kind of wrestlers. But I just couldn't get, like, too animated about him. Roxanne is sharing. Achieved in the past. Here's Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. I know you're new here, Lola. If you're looking for trouble, you just found it. This new attitude of yours is going to get you in trouble real quick. Lola said she's going to enter the breakout tournament and win that as well. Bron Breakker versus Baron Corbin is going to be taking place at NXT No Mercy. Dragonov gets another shot at Carmelo. So torn because, like, I really feel like he should win that. But if he doesn't win it, it's not the end of the world because maybe he'll be going to the main roster. Dirty Dom is going to be taking on Mustafa Ali. That was sorted last week. Then we have got Noam Dar defending against whoever wins the Global Heritage Invitational. Okay, we are still not at the women's title match yet. It's Nathan Frazier first. Nathan Frazier. Lola, what a figure. Dragonov versus Chad, please. That would be 5 stars, said Liam. Ladies locker. Ladies locker. Here's Akira Tozawa. Oh, it has been a crazy ride for him, isn't it? He lost on Raw to The Miz, and now here he is, 24 hours later, down in NXT competing. Okay. I returned to the American Legion Post 100 in Lake Station, Indiana to see AR Dub Pro. Hope you had a good time, Carmen Live. We need Sharp Samuels, but we do. I'd love to see that again. I wish WWE kept Killer Kelly. I agree with that as well. Tozawa for the L. Right, Akira is keeping Nathan Frazier down. Frazier going against the ropes. Duck underneath. Look at the speed. Look at, oh my God, single leg drop kick, and Akira just went flying across the ring. Frazier again charging over, gets dumped to the outsides. Shot coming in. Tozawa in the middle of the ring. Frazier. Kick there by Tozawa. He's trying to go in between the legs. No joy. Rolls up. Frazier. 1, 2. No joy. Kick coming in there by Frazier. Lovely work there by Akira Tozawa. Into a German suplex. Tozawa, knee strike. Tozawa going to the outsides. Akira Tozawa is up. Missile drop kick as Frazier goes flying across the ring. Tozawa, suicide dive into Nathan Frazier. The power of Tozawa. Tozawa participation already makes this tournament fraudulent, said Real. Tozawa climbing up. What if Punk returns and is Jay's friend and it leads to Punk Roman, said Chill Dudes. Ray said, I'm not going to lie, Tozawa was someone I wanted to see in NXT just because his in-ring ability fits so well with what they have done down there. Big superplex. Big, swinging net breaker there by Tozawa. 1, 2, 3. It's a win for Nathan Frazier. Nathan Frazier picks up the win. Okay, big win that for Nathan Frazier, beating someone from the main roster. I know it's only Akira Tozawa, but you would imagine Akira Tozawa should prove to be a little bit tricky for some of these NXT talents, but sadly not. He's sat at the bottom of the table with no wins, no draws, and 3 losses. Lol. Okay, we're backstage with an interview with Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey said, I've been the odds-on favourite ever since this invitational competition started. It's G. Hudson. If I beat you next week, it'll be a 3-way tie. Duke Hudson saying that he's going to get the victory against Joe Coffey next week. There is the man. There is big time Bex. Is laser focused as she is trying to go for that NXT Women's Championship. Big fight feel coming up. Can Becky Lynch win that title that evaded her when she was in NXT before? We're going to a commercial break. When we come back, it will be time for our main event. Vince looks like the guy from the Addams Family, said Chill Dudes. Tiffany is retaining in a squash, said James. It's gonna be she's gonna mess her up. She's gonna mess up big time. She is gonna mess up big time. Tozawa will pick up another L on SmackDown and main event. What's been your score for the show so far? Probably about a 7. Probably about a 7. I think that the first match was the one that grabbed me the most. I don't think there's been really much since that, but nothing disastrous either. So I'm struggling to like build on that opening match. I'm struggling. I mean, what there has been was that news that we might have lost the dyad, which if we had is just such a shame. Such a shame. I can only think that WWE really tried their best to keep them around. But, I mean, if they just really were hating what they were doing and it was just really just, they could not make it work for them, then, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, you know, that is noteworthy. But the biggest part of tonight is obviously about to take place. So, don't know, we could be looking at a special episode if Becky can get it done. Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton. Let's go. Where are we with the poll? We have had nearly 700 votes. Nearly 700 votes. Tiffany, 36%. Becky, 64%. We have got keep your votes coming in. We'll see where we get to with that. I have said all night long, I think that Becky is going to get it done. I am a little worried about someone interfering and costing Becky. I don't think Tiffany wins clean. I think if Tiffany wins, then maybe it's going to be like a Kiana James that prevents Becky. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Becky getting the job done. I'm leaning towards Becky becoming the new NXT Women's Champion. Tiffany is a C+ or a B- at best. With looks, I just don't get the hype, says Real. AB Jobs said, I think Cora Jade will cost Becky. Oh, yeah, Cora Jade. We haven't seen her in a hot minute. Cora Jade versus Becky would be a hell of a match. That would be a hell of a match. Cora Jade against Becky. So, Cora Jade emerging out of nowhere to cost Becky. Yeah, you could have called it. That man Tozawa is a professional loser. Just like me. Because Sean said, what theme song is better, Jimmy or Jay? Oh, wow. I can't get past the 1700s intro for Jimmy. I'm sure the song gets good, but I'm too busy laughing. So I'll have to go with Jay's. Here is John Cena, who's going to be a guest on the Grayson Waller Effect on Friday. Do you fear some of the people leaving NXT are budget cuts? No. I mean, I'm not aware of anyone leaving NXT other than the Dyad, and they'd been rumored for a long time that they wanted out. That was their decision. Okay, we got a look at the smiley face of Mustafa Ali. Don't undermine my huge victory. They weren't booing me. They were booing Dom. I dropped him. So Mustafa Ali is saying that it wasn't his fault what happened. Dragon Lee has arrived. The count was too fast, said Dragon Lee. For me to agree or disagree is irrelevant because it won't change anything. I'm going to beat Dom for you and for you. You'll be the first to get the first opportunity. Dragon Lee says he's not done. Who's that in the doorway? Wes is leaving. Is this woman? Oh, is that his wife? I cleared my locker out. Let's go. Done. Wes says he's done. Hello, what's going on? Is that Blair? No, is that someone attacking Blair? I can see ginger hair. That's, oh yeah. Gigi. Oh, we could have at least teased that for a week, couldn't we? Could have teased that. Someone with a hoodie is attacking Blair, and immediately it gets revealed. So Wes said that he's done. Wonder what we're doing with Wes. Do you reckon it's another one of those Creed brothers done, but actually they're back in a few weeks type situation? Definitely feels like a show where we've had a few developments. Do you reckon it's one of those Cora Jades I'm done, but we just haven't seen her again? Right, we're seeing a shot of the crowds. Here's big time. The man getting her entrance. Becky Lynch steps out in the Performance Center. Great reaction from the fans. Becky looking out at the NXT crowds. Stepping inside the ring. So excited to see how this match is going to go as well. So excited. There's great energy inside NXT. Feels big, man. Feels real big. The man, Becky Lynch. Just think how many years ago it was that we were watching her in NXT. I mean, we've got to be going back to like 2014. 2014, 2015. I'm sure, didn't they get called up in 2015 with like PCB and Team Bella? So I think we're going back like 8 years. The man is in NXT and the people are all kinds of fired up. It is a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of energy. Becky with a big smile on her face. Big Time is too big to win this. Who beats her? It doesn't make sense, said Joshua. Listen, there's some great talent in NXT. There's some great talent that's coming through. Someone like Lyra Valkyria could put in the performance of a night and get a win over Becky. One of those, isn't it? It's like, you know, Becky against Lyra. If they face 10 times, Becky would win 9 times. But there's always that one time where Lyra would get the win. And I don't know if Tiffany is gonna get the job done. Tiffany has made her way down. She's in the ring. Becky looking at Tiffany. Both women in the middle of the ring. I love how we've got both women standing in the center, kind of looking towards the hard cam. Becky's graphics are raw. Puts her hand up as the crowd cheer. Got that championship match. Both getting their big intros. Tiffany, I love her graphics as well. Boos for Tiffany. Big time staring at Tiffany. 8 minutes. And then we've got the overrun. We really don't have loads of time to play with here. This is for the NXT Women's Championship. Which way is this going to go? And how great is this match going to be? Welcome home chants from the NXT crowds. Becky linking up with Tiffany. Tiffany driving Becky back into the corner. And they break apart. Becky is circling rounds. So, early advantage for Tiffany Stratton. Kick to the midsection by Tiffany. Side headlock by Tiffany. Against the ropes goes Tiffany. Shoulder tackle as Becky goes down. Tiffany going back against the ropes. Cartwheels over. Lands on her feet. And again, Tiffany showing off as she bridges over. Takes the legs away from Becky. Becky escapes. Becky goes against the ropes. She cartwheels over. No. When do you see that from Becky? He grabs the leg of Tiffany. Tiffany goes down. Becky looking for a disarmer. Trying to get the disarmer on. Tiffany manages to get out of it. Damn, when do you see that? When do you see that cartwheel from Big Time? Big Time circling round. Knee to the midsection there by Tiffany. Clubbing blow to the back. Over in the corner, face first. Again, face first. Becky going against the ropes. Big shot to the back there by Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany has got Becky against the ropes, but Becky bounces off, collides into Tiffany. Some forearms being exchanged. Oh, nice kick to the midsection there by Tiffany Stratton. We're over by the rope. She picks up Becky. Oh, drops her on top of the ropes. And hip attack as Becky goes to the outside. Kissing of the guns there by Tiffany Stratton. Becky on the outside selling as we go to our final commercial break. That stuff said there's no way Becky wins this on a short build. The story is there, but the build isn't. She will win it eventually. Aubrey said, come on, Tiffany, whoop that trick. We are at commercial break. AB Jobson said, NXT delivers bangers every week. Sean is cheering on the man. Becky feeling herself, said Gerald's. Zoom Station said, this is the most confident we've seen Becky. Yeah, she should be confident. I mean, she is clearly the firm favorite. If this was like UFC, you know, Becky would be coming in at like minus 600. So like that, Tiffany Stratton at plus 400. Maybe even wider than that. Maybe minus 800 plus 600. But So she's firm favorite with all of her experience. But, you know, this is Tiffany's house. She's here week in, week out. She's the one that knows this arena. It's on her ground. She's going to have every trick at her disposal. I'm sure she's been thinking about this match and how she's going to get through it. It does make for a very interesting encounter. And who knows, maybe Tiffany has gone and got someone like a Cora Jade or someone just as like a insurance policy. Don't forget as well, Tiffany can get counted out. She can get disqualified. She would keep the championship, champion's advantage. So we could always turn to that if we so needed. So yeah, Becky should be confident, but it's says during the AW Pro event I attended, I found out their next one is on August 14th. I hope I can go. I'm sure you will, bud. I'm sure you will. The Beach Kevin said, Tiffany looks larger and stronger. It's not a stretch to think that Tiffany can win this. Liam said, let's see who costs Becky. Surely it'll be Kiana. Gerald said, speaking of betting, anyone believe after the TKO merger, WWE will book more shocking results to throw off bettors moving forwards? I don't know what we're doing with the betting on that front. Is it like DraftKings or something? Becky colliding into Tiffany. Exploder. Again, Becky, we're back in the ring. She gets thrown to the outsides. She stays on the edge of the ring. This is going to be the final part of the show now. Are we about to see Becky Lynch become the NXT Women's Champion? Missile dropkick by Becky. Tiffany Stratton down, but she gets a shoulder up. Becky staring at Tiffany. Lovely dropkick by Big Time. Tiffany is down in the middle of the ring. Becky taking her time. Pacing rounds. Grabbing Tiffany. Again, going for the arm, but Tiffany rolling up Becky. Becky on her feet. Over against the ropes goes Becky. Tiffany. Oh! Powerbomb by Tiffany. Tiffany only getting a 2. Pop up, sit down, powerbomb. Right, she's going over, grabbing Becky. Tiffany going to the corner. Oh, Becky grabbing the leg. Hit coming out there by Tiffany. Shot coming in there by Becky. Becky charging over as Tiffany moves out the way. Tiffany to the outside. Shot coming in. Tiffany climbing up. And again, a big shot coming in by Becky. Tiffany is up top at the moment. Becky climbing up, going after her. Becky, big shot coming into Tiffany. And again. And one more. She's unloading a few shots as Tiffany is on that top turnbuckle. Looking for a superplex. Yep, Becky in control, but Tiffany with some shots to the midsection. But Becky goes down. Becky goes down. Oh! Swanton by... Have I seen her do that? That I've seen that from Tiffany before. Seen that? I don't think I've seen that. Look at the Swanton, man. Look at that. She does it beautifully. Beautiful from Tiffany Stratton. Wow. She is in control. Against the ropes goes Tiffany. Kick to the midsection by Becky. Double underhooks. Slams Tiffany down. She's got the arm. She's got the arm. Middle of the ring. Tiffany. Tiffany in trouble. Right now, she's got the arm right in the center. Tiffany is trying to get out of it. She's trying to get over to the ropes. She's scooting over. She's reaching out with her legs. She gets one leg on, but reverses the position. Is that a triangle? Is that a triangle? Single arm. Power bomb. She's got Becky up. Becky reverses. She's on top of Tiffany. 1, 2, pin-in attempt, but kick out by Tiffany. Becky coming over. She gets hurled into the ropes. Tiffany going against the ropes. Hip attack. Becky goes down. Tiffany against the ropes again. Oh, big stomp. Big stomp. Shoulder up by Becky. Man, she got all of that. Tiffany got all of that. That stomp was sick. That stomp, she just drove Becky like through the mat. She got all of that. Tiffany getting a little frustrated. She's tried a lot of big moves. Look, Becky knows she's been in a fight. Becky coming over. Round the back, into the corner goes Tiffany. Big boot there by Tiffany. Becky goes down. Tiffany going up. Looking for the prettiest moonsault, but Becky goes with her. Russian leg sweep off the middle rope. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up. Shoulder up by Tiffany Stratton. Wow. Good contest, said Druka. Tiffany has a moonsault and a swanton dive. Everything else is basic and boring, says Real. NXT champ from the crowds. Liam said Tiffany looking a bona fide star in the making. Tiffany rolling out the ring on the outside. That double stomp was sick from Tiffany. She properly laid it in. From the outside, into the ring steps goes big time. Tiffany taking the top off the commentary table. Stripping the commentary table. Didn't really strip the commentary table, though. We've still got monitors and stuff on there. Right now, she's going to go for a power bomb. I think she's got Becky up. Becky is up. Becky trying to get over to the barricades. Shots coming in. Right over by the fans, man. Becky is on the barricades, right in front of the fans. Somehow, Tiffany has landed on the commentary table. Big time! Oh, back in the ring goes Tiffany. Becky going up top. Becky. Oh, the leg drop! Leg drop! 1, 2. It's a 2, but into a disarmer! Into a disarmer! Straight into the disarmer! Big trouble, but she gets to the rope. She gets to the rope. Big time drags her into the middle. Tiffany powering Becky up. She's got her on her shoulder. To the outside goes Becky. Tiffany coming through the rope. Kick to the midsection. Kick coming in by Becky. Becky going upstairs. Tiffany in the middle. Becky is perched. Oh, misses. Misses. Oh, kick by Tiffany. Picking up big time. Sit down powerbomb. What? Oh, my God, man. This is so good. This is so good. There's been some moments here where I've really thought this match was ending. There's been some moments where I really thought this match was done. That leg drop, I thought it was done. Straight into the disarmer, I thought it was done. Sit down powerbomb by Tiffany, I thought it was done. Down. These two are absolutely spent. Look, they're slapping each other right now. Big slap coming in. Becky, she went for the manhandle slam. No joy. No joy. Tiffany has got Becky up on her shoulders. Oh, beautiful. Rolling senton. Prettiest moonsault missing. Big time. Manhandle. Manhandle connect. 1, 2, 3. Becky wins. Becky wins. NXT Women's Champion. Manhandle slam does it. She's got the title. She has got the title. Look at the smile on her face. Big time. Manhandle slams her way to the championship. And... oh! Wow. Look at these scenes. Big time holding up that NXT Women's title to Raw. It means that she can make return visits to NXT. It means that she's probably going to be at No Mercy. It means that we're probably going to be seeing her at that show at the end of the month. Tiffany Stratton's title reign has come to an end. No one came to her aid. No Cora Jade. No Kiana. But absolute scenes inside NXT. Manhandle slam is what won it for her. That's one of the best women's matches ever, said Zoom Station. Gerald said, if I'm mellow, I refuse to defend my belt against someone from the main roster. Big time holding up that championship. That's a pretty sick way to end the show, isn't it? That's a pretty sick way to end this week's NXT. Lots of reaction online. People saying they're crying. You do tend to get that with social media. I'm crying right now. Good for you. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That bumped me to an 8. It was a really good show, said Mitchell. Right, here we go. Have we got the image? There it is. Massive breaking news coming out of NXT. We have got a new NXT Women's Champion, and it is big time. Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, she's not involved in any feuds at the moment. This is a belt that she has never won. This is a right that she wanted to right this wrong. This is something that she wanted to achieve before she ended her career. She's gone down to NXT to do it, and she has done it. Great little contest in the main event against Tiffany Stratton. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of great matches now for her to have. She could face Lyra Valkyria. She could face Gigi. She could face JC. There's so much talent in NXT in that women's division, and they are really going to benefit from working with Becky and all of the experience that she brings. So I don't see this as a negative for the women's division in NXT. I see it as a big positive. If you was a female in that women's division and you have now got the opportunity to work with Becky Lynch, like, that is a big opportunity. That is great news. So yeah, she can carry the belt. She can carry it on Raw. She can promote it. She can promote NXT. It's going to be a big boost to the ratings. It's going to be great experiences for some of the women down in NXT. Someone is going to beat Becky, and someone is going to get this title from her. And that person is going to get quite the boost to their brand and their reputation when they do it as well. So even though there'll be plenty of people down on the fact that someone from the main roster has got this belt, I just see way, way, way more positives than negatives for Becky being champion right now. So, yeah, Becky picking up the win over a very game Tiffany Stratton, and another big moment from NXT that just keeps delivering big moments. So good. So good. Let's get a read, actually, and see what people's thoughts are. See if people are up for it, are down for it. Do you like Becky Lynch being NXT champion? Let's see what people are saying. Yes or no? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Which way are the community going? That'll be interesting. what people's thoughts are. That's why NXT did it. The views are going up, says Juan. Yep, definitely. They want NXT to be seen as like a viable brand. If you're gonna buy WWE, you're not just getting Raw and SmackDown. You could get NXT as well. And NXT, it's not an afterthought. Certainly not right now. I think Blair will beat Becky or a returning Cora Jade, says Wilds. Yeah, I think there's so many great options. I mean, Roxanne Perez versus Becky. Becky versus JC Jane. Becky versus Gigi Dolan. Becky versus Lyra Valkyria. Becky versus Tiffany rematch. Like, you just go on and on and on and on. There's so many great matches for her down there. What would you score tonight? I enjoyed it. It opened strong and it ended strong. I think it opened strong and ended strong. I was around 7. I think this show would be probably a 7.5 in the end. I feel like a 7 might have been a bit kind at the kind of 3/4 way point. Definitely it has to go up following that main event. Has to. I don't think I could justify increasing it a whole point though. Maybe it's 7.75. 7.75. It's a noteworthy episode. Do you know what? On this episode, I mean, yeah, 7.75, I think. You've got one of the best TV matches of the year in Dragonov versus Wes Lee, which I just thought was brilliant. And then you've got an amazing main event match as well, which I thought they did a great job in. And you get a new champion, Becky, doing it. You've got the Dyad news. You've got the Wes Lee situation. You've actually got a lot of stuff going on here. We've said, you don't want an episode that you can afford to miss. Do you know what? It might be an 8. Now I'm thinking about it. It might be an 8. Now that I'm sitting and just going through it, I mean, what really drags the score down? I mean, some of those matches in the middle could have been a bit more relevant. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, even like the 6-man tag match, you still had Miles turning, which was interesting. Tyler and Axiom was okay. That was okay. Dana and Lyra, that was okay. You know, maybe these matches are the matches that could have been a bit stronger. Baron and Bron, I thought was quite weak, actually, that promo exchange. So this is where points are being lost. I think you get a hot start. I think it tails down, and then you get an amazing ending. Yeah, I think Cold Light a Day, 7.75. If someone wanted to buy me a drink and tell me this show is an 8, I would definitely listen, mainly because you bought me the drink. But really good. Really enjoyed it. Easily the best TV wrestling show I've seen in quite a while. You know, there's been a lot of shows, actually, probably since SummerSlam. A lot of shows where I'm 7.5 at worst, but I'm more 7.75. And as I said, I would definitely listen to people that want to tell me this was an 8. You always look for those big OMG moments. Becky Lynch coming down to NXT and winning the title has got to be in that conversation. But I don't know that the rest of the show is strong enough to get you into the 8s. You know? I think there's still flaws in the show which prevents it from really running away, you know, and being an all-time episode. But Becky winning the title, that is an all-time. Becky coming back after 8 years and winning the title, that has to be an all-time moment. Right? That has to be. Yeah. Good. 7.75 is what I settled on. But I'm totally open for other points of view. But if we think that show was bad, maybe just stop watching wrestling, said James. Who Dat for Life said they made the right move taking the title off her. Tiffany is not good. NXT better than Raw. Mitchell said it's weird to say, but NXT is my favorite show right now. Nothing but respect. Becky worshipping does not look good, says Oblong Box. I just love really good booking. I can't help it. I just love really good booking, and this is really good booking. So, you know, it's a great boost to the ratings. It's a great boost to the ratings. You can see totally why they would do it. It's going to open up some big opportunities for other women on the roster. So it's not so much Becky worshipping, because there's plenty of times that I've watched Becky and I've not been rooting for her to succeed. So it's not Becky worshipping. It's good booking worshipping. So, yeah, I think Sean is cooking. I'm here for it. Wrestle with Andy said, think of it this way. The moment will probably be Becky Lynch's Hall of Fame package. Carmen Live said, I give NXT a 9 out of 10 since Becky Lynch won the NXT Championship. Mescott says 10 out of 10. AB Jobson says Becky might be a good choice for Endeavor going forwards with NXT. Robin said Booker of the Year HBK. Joe said congrats to Becky. J Love said, I think Becky winning is good for the girls. I don't like it for her. Jay Bryant said, why don't you like it for her? Becky never won that belt. And when she retires, she's going to want that in her achievements. So why? Well, I don't understand. Why don't you like it for her? She likes it for her. She was nearly in tears. That's a big one, man. That's one of those where at the time, she, as she said in that promo earlier, she was not seen as someone that realistically was going to get that title. She was not seen as someone that was going to win that belt. And so for her to now get that belt, get that title, like that is... It's more confirmation that she has done it. She has succeeded. She has, got to where she needs to get to. So, I mean, for her, she's bubbling about it, man. Bubbling. I mean, right now, she is nowhere around that title picture. She has just been feuding with Trish. She could go back to Raw and try and, do something with Rhea. But chances are they're probably not going to take the belt off Rhea to put it on Becky. So if the title picture just doesn't need Becky right now, then you got to find other things for her to do. So a feud with Trish is one, and that's cool. But, winning NXT, that is definitely something you tick off a box, isn't it? That's definitely something you tick off. You tick off the fact that you have won that NXT championship, It's good, man. I love it. Not saying I agree. This thought women had headlined WrestleMania. Some people may see this as a downgrade. That's on them, innit? To be honest, that's on them. That's not on Becky. Becky ain't seeing it as a downgrade. I don't see it as a downgrade. I see her going, competing against some really good talent. There's some really good stars down in NXT that are coming for spots on the main roster. So she is going down to, get a closer look at some of these women that are coming through that will get to the main roster. They just haven't had the experiences yet. They haven't had enough experience, and there's still a bit of learning to be done as well. But they're hungry. They're credible. You look at someone like Lyra Valkyria. She could hang on the main roster right now. Lyra Valkyria absolutely could hang. I think... if you look at it, that Becky is going to beat all these women 10 times out. Becky wins the majority. Becky is experienced, and she is definitely someone that, you would hope would go to NXT and do well at this stage in her career. But for her, I think to go back and right that wrong, I think I would probably feel different if she had won that title. So when Becky was in NXT the first time, if she had won it, then you could probably go, yeah, what does she need that for? But because she had never won it, because this is an achievement that she wants to tick off, because this is her, in a way, it's a little bit like, do you remember when Undertaker was told he'll never draw any money? And they said to him, you won't ever be a star. And actually, Stone Cold was told that by Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff said to Stone Cold, you'll never draw a dime in this business. So, I sort of feel that her having her time in NXT, but never being given the belts, never being the women's champion when she was there was sort of NXT saying, yeah, you're good, but you're not championship goods. You're good, but you're not quite good enough. You know, in a roundabout way, that's what they said to her, because they gave the belt to Sasha. They gave the belt to Bayley. So you could imagine, I would have it, that chip being on your shoulder. Yeah, you could imagine that chip being on your shoulder and that being something that really does stick with you. That, not that you failed in NXT, but you certainly didn't, you know, tick every box because you never got that title. And so now she's got, like, you know, the NXT Women's Champion giving her disrespect and coming to Raw and making a few comments. And, you know, now she's kind of find herself where getting a title opportunity because of her star power is quite an easy thing to organize. She goes in, has a match. There's plenty that could have gone wrong. Plenty, we said. There could have been a count out, could have been a DQ. Cora Jade could have got involved. Kiana could have got involved. Could have been loads that happened. So it was not by any means guaranteed that Becky was going to get the win. And there was plenty in the chat saying that someone was going to interfere. And there was plenty in the chat saying that now is not the right time for Becky to do it. So the idea that this was super obvious is wrong. That's wrong. That's not true. This was not super obvious. Not even in our poll did Becky get like 100% or anywhere near it. So this wasn't super obvious that it was 100% going to go this way. There's plenty of people thinking they'd throw a spanner in the works. But she did it. She got it. It's a big achievement for her. It answers, you know, all those questions from the past. She, I think, can now have some matches against some of that younger emerging talent, really help them kick on. And then when, like, you know, she's kind of done with being down in NXT for a little bit, then she can go back to the main roster and she'll be a big star. I mean, Becky being in a big main event match for WrestleMania 40, absolutely. I mean, this is nowhere near the same as, like, Dana Brooke going down because we ain't got anything for Dana Brooke and we never will, right? This is, we ain't got nothing for Becky right now because really, Becky, you're either going to use her in a tag team and go after the tag belts, or you're going to have her go after Rhea. And we don't want her around Rhea at the moment. And for whatever reason, they've decided, let's not do the tag thing. So she's found herself going down to NXT for what I think is quite an engaging story. So, I don't know, man, if you want to look at it as like, we're seeing it that way, and I can see why. But as I said, if it was a case that she had won this belt before, and she was trying to win it again for not really any reason, then I would feel a little different, definitely. But I can totally sympathize with her wanting to right that wrong. I can totally sympathize. So yeah, big fan. And I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here. Liam said it was an excellent first match, a big match set up for No Mercy with Bron and Baron. Brackets, I know it was weak, but still noteworthy. Decent enough matches, fantastic main event. It was a very, very easy 8 out of 10. Gerald said it definitely wasn't a foregone conclusion. I do think the argument it kind of diminishes the talent is a fair one, especially with how Kiana got treated last week on top of her announcements. Tala said, which weekly show do you prefer at the moment? Raw, NXT, Dynamite, or SmackDown? Loved NXT tonight. Great stream. I would go NXT at the moment. I think NXT is, I mean, Bloodline has done a lot of carrying of SmackDown. And we don't have that now. Raw, I think, has consistently been a little bit underwhelming. You know, it's been a while since I tuned into a Raw and went, yeah, that was a banger. And Dynamite, I mean, oh God, that just is Dynamite in it. I mean, Dynamite is just, it's starting to become so consistently average that if Dynamite is just, well, it was very Dynamite this week. That's why we tend to describe it. It was a very Dynamite episode of Dynamite this week. Because it's just consistently like that. You know, there's a lot of praise for Collision. And I really think, looking at AEW, Collision is the brand that I should be watching. I've got no doubt if I watched that show, I'd love it. Because I think all the stuff that I enjoy about pro wrestling it's taking place on Collision. And then all the stuff I find frustrating about AEW is taking place on Dynamite. And I can only watch Dynamite. So, yeah, NXT at the moment for me. Let me get this straight. We have the man as NXT champ and the Pappy as WWE Women's champ. Men rule. Wrestle with Andy said it's happened with the New Day, Finn Balor and Dolph with NXT titles. How long do you think she keeps it? Who dethrones her? Well, I think she will probably want to put Lyra over because I think she will want to make sure that what happened to her doesn't happen to Lyra. So I think and Lyra's never won that title. And I think for Lyra to get it off Becky would be big. Now, you could make the argument that they'll just put it back on Tiffany and that this is nothing more than just an achievement for Becky that she never had and a boost to the ratings for NXT and further strengthening of the relationship between the main roster and NXT. So it ticks all them boxes. But I think that she will carry it for a little while. I mean, look, I think if she can get past the next few weeks and get past No Mercy, that would be good because it really could be that short. Because I've got to think that Becky ain't going to want to be going down to NXT on a regular basis, what with having a kid and being an active Raw superstar. Like, she ain't going to stop being on Raw. So she'll still be on Raw. And so I don't think it's long. I don't think we're sat here in like 3 months' time and she's champion. But I think, first of all, you would look at No Mercy. I think if I was a betting man, I would say she will get past No Mercy. I think she will get past No Mercy. But, yeah, hard to put a date on it because I don't know what their other big shows are going to be. What would be the next NXT show after No Mercy? WWE Premium live events for 2023. No Mercy. Fastlane, Survivor Series. I don't think there's one sorted yet. Just looking at last year, they did Worlds Collide in September, and then they did Halloween Havoc in October. So I've got to think they're going to do Halloween Havoc again this year. So I'm going to say Halloween Havoc's where she drops it. I think she gets past No Mercy. I think we get to Halloween Havoc in October, which is around about, not that long actually, 5 weeks or so. That's going to give her a good few weeks to, face a few people. And then maybe drop it to Lyra. So Halloween Havoc, I think, could be interesting. That could be where she drops it. Beyond that, we're getting to Deadline, which is like December. Oh, I can't see that. That would be 3 months. I can't see her carrying it for 3 months. I think she definitely drops it before that. But I've got to think that she would drop it at a big show, Big show. And it would be a shame if it's in like 17 days, like just over 2 weeks. That would be a shame. So yeah, I'm looking at Halloween Havoc. Nia Jax is back to bust open Becky's face. Right, let's end the click on this. The poll and end the stream. So we had 200 odd votes. 84% said they like it. 15% said they didn't. Amy Jobson said, I think they put on a really good match tonight. Not one misstep. It's a very good effort. Gerald said, I forgot about Halloween Havoc. She could definitely drop it there. I think get past No Mercy because that will give her maybe the rematch with Tiffany. The only thing I would say is I would be tempted to not do the rematch with Tiffany. I would be tempted to have someone distract Tiffany because I think it would be we've already done Becky Tiffany tonight. So I think you're only going to have so many dates of Becky. I think that it would make more sense to actually do someone different at No Mercy rather than do Tiffany against Becky again. Like if you've got Becky till say Halloween Havoc, you've potentially got, I don't know, 4 matches, say, just, you know, random. One of them being No Mercy, one of them being Halloween Havoc, and maybe you can squeeze 1 or 2 in between. So if you've got, say, 4 matches, like, are you really going to use one of those 4 for a rematch with Tiffany? Why not have someone else step up? Kiana, maybe we planted that seed and we do Becky versus Kiana at No Mercy, and then you do JC Jane on a show, and then you do Gigi or something like that, and ultimately she loses it at Halloween Havoc to Lyra Valkyria. You do Becky Lyra at Halloween Havoc. That way she will have faced 4 different women. They all would have had experiences of being in the ring with Becky. And she gets to pass the title on to Lyra, who I think is a very credible person to beat Becky. I've got no problem with Lyra beating Becky. I think Lyra has shown great heart. I think she digs deep. I think that if Becky doesn't bring her A game on that day, I think that, you know, as I said, 10 times, maybe Becky wins 9, but there's always that one time where Lyra would win. I think Lyra would be the right person. But it might not go that way. It might not go that way. We'll have to wait and see. It could be that Becky is going to be champion 10 years' time. She might hold this NXT Women's Championship for 27 years and become the longest reigning champion in WWE history. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But what I do know is that we are going to wrap things up. Appreciate people joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show or got something out of the show. We are back again tomorrow with Dynamite. Fingers crossed it's going to be good. And I think that's everything. Yeah. Appreciate the support as always. Have a great evening wherever you are. See you again next time. Bye for now.